Star Report. Good afternoon. I'm your host, Star. Okay, let's get right down to business. I watched some of the live stream, and I want to play it back for those of you who, you're working, you're doing things on Monday. Let me say early, free my nigga Keefe D. Free the rat. All that good work he's been doing on behalf of law enforcement over the decades. There's no gun. There's no money trail. It's just, the word of a rat.
On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur came to Las Vegas to attend a Mike Tyson fight. After the fight, Tupac, along with Suge Knight, Trayvon Lane, and other people that were with that group, ran into a person named Orlando Anderson. And Orlando Anderson is the defendant's nephew. And when they encountered Orlando Anderson sitting by himself, they attacked him. And that attack was captured on video. Then, a few hours later, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight drive down Flamingo Road to Club 662, where Tupac is scheduled to perform a concert. Then 2.5 hours later, after Tupac and Suge engaged in the beating of Orlando Anderson, they are gunned down. Tupac is gunned down in a drive-by shooting from a white Cadillac in an act of revenge. During those 2.5 hours, you will learn that the defendant was escalating and planning the retribution for the beating of his beloved nephew. Now, let's be clear. Duane Davis did not pull the trigger. But what he did do was plan the retaliation for the beating of his nephew. You will learn that Duane Davis got the gun. You will learn that he got into a white Cadillac. You will learn when the opportunity presented itself for retribution, Duane Davis made sure that the shooters were armed and ready to execute their revenge. And remarkably, you will learn that from Duane Davis himself. But to understand what happened on September 7th, 1996, on the streets of Las Vegas, we need to go about 275 miles west to the city of Compton, California. What you'll learn is that Compton is about 10 square miles. But in the mid-1990s, those 10 square miles were occupied by over 30 gangs claiming its territory. And important to this case, there are two gangs, Mob Piru and the Southside Compton groups. Let's talk a little bit about the Mob Piru. The Mob Piru is a group that associated with the color red. And you'll hear that Suge Knight, the person who was driving Tupac Shakur that night, grew up in the neighborhood of Mob Piru. But by the mid-1990s, he had become a very successful CEO of the record label Death Row Records.
Right.
But despite, or maybe because of where he came from, you'll hear that Suge Knight continued to employ Mob Piru gang members as part of Death Row. They would act as unofficial security, and other times they would engage in, let's call them other acts, on behalf of Suge Knight. But Death Row in the mid-1990s was one of the most successful record labels around. They had artists such as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and of course, Tupac Shakur. And in 1996, Tupac Shakur was maybe the largest and biggest, most successful rapper around. He had just released All Eyes on Me, a double album that was met with huge success. Additionally, Tupac Shakur was a movie star, having appeared in a number of movies and critically acclaimed roles. He has at times been referred to as an icon. But for the purposes of this case, what you need to know is that Tupac Shakur was not a gangster. He was a hip hop artist associated with the Mob Piru. Now, the other gang that's important to know here is the Southside Compton Crips. And when it comes to Southside, Duane Keefe D. Davis was the leader of the Burris Street faction of the Southside Compton Crips. And while Suge Knight rose to prominence in his neighborhood due to the money that he was bringing in through the music industry, Duane Davis rose to prominence in his neighborhood because he was a very successful, large-scale drug trafficker. And you will learn that that is how one moves up in the world of gangs, by bringing in money to the neighborhood. The other thing you'll learn is that Orlando Baby Lane Anderson was his nephew and also a highly respected member of the Southside Compton.
He's a shooter.
Now, as part of this case, you're going to hear another name, Eric Zip Martin. Now, Eric Zip Martin is not a member of the Southside Compton Crips.
I remember him.
He's based out of New York. He's involved in the drug trade and knows Duane Davis as a result of both their involvements in the drug trade. Duane Davis from the West Coast, Eric Zip Martin from the East Coast. And one of the connections that Duane Davis gets through his association with Zip Martin is with Sean Puffy Combs, who was then the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment. Sean Combs wanted some security when he came out to the West Coast. He was worried about Mob Piru. He was worried about the members of Death Row Records. And so Duane Keefe D. Davis agreed to be around to act as unofficial security for Sean Combs and his artists when they came out west, in order specifically to ensure there are no problems with Mob Piru and Death Row Records. And this took a rivalry between Mob Piru and Southside Compton Crips and escalated. And those tensions boiled over in the Lakewood Mall in the summer of 1996. There, you'll hear that Trayvon Lane, a member of the Mob Piru associated with Death Row Records, was there with other members of Mob Piru in order to do some shopping. Lakewood Mall was a mall nearby Compton. You'll also hear that Baby Lane Anderson, Orlando Anderson, the defendant's nephew, was there. Now, Trayvon Lane that day was wearing a chain with a Death Row medallion. And there was a fight that occurs between the Mob Piru group and the Southside Compton Crips. And at one point, that chain is pulled off Trayvon Lane's neck. Now, what happened to that chain is an issue of much dispute. Not everybody agrees with it. But the act of disrespect of pulling the Death Row chain and the brawl that occurs further escalates this heated rivalry. And what you'll learn is that these two men, Trayvon Lane and Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, they encounter each other again, this time in Las Vegas. So that brings us back up to September 7th, 1996, here in Las Vegas. Again, Mike Tyson is fighting Bruce Seldon. He disposes of him in less than in a round. Doesn't take a full round. And then after the fight, Tupac Shakur, Suge Knight, and the people that are here with, they leave. And among his group is Trayvon Lane. And that is why this fight occurs. Trayvon Lane and the Death Row group sees Orlando Anderson standing by himself, and they decide to attack him in retribution for what happened at the Lakewood Mall. You'll see Orlando Anderson's on the bottom of that group. You see security coming, trying to break this up. And then you'll see Tupac Shakur, Suge Knight, Trayvon Lane, and that group exit the MJ Fair. Now, Orlando Anderson was by himself because when Duane Davis purchased the tickets for the Bruce Seldon fight, he got them through a scalper. So everybody that came with Duane Davis were seated separately throughout the fight. And so Orlando Anderson was, at that time, by
I don't mean to make fun of anything, and I don't promote violence, but do you think ultimately they played with the wrong nigga? Baby Lane took his ass whooping, but at the same time he said, "Oh no, somebody gonna die behind this. Somebody gonna die behind this," and they did.
You'll see that Mr. Shakur, Mr. Knight, and his group leave the MGM Grand. And you'll see that Orlando Anderson, after being held by security, is questioned for a bit, asked if he wants to press charges. He decides he doesn't want to participate in any type of prosecution, and that he does.
Troll Baby 919 on the screen. Yes, the get back. Sometimes you have to think, if you can, about the get back before you go whooping on a nigga. Everybody's not going to take an ass whooping and just, accept it. Pay attention.
Doesn't need medical attention. Duane Davis hears about this beating. And what you will hear is that in his world, there is no question that a response is required. And you will hear from Duane Davis what happens next. Because what happened over the next 2.5 hours is something Duane Davis would later describe himself in a secret 2008 interview from his attorney's office with the federal task force. And we'll talk about that interview and the circumstances surrounding that later. But we'll hear about what the next 2.5 hours was. So what we learn is that Duane Davis is upset about the beat.
Everybody say good afternoon to Bossed Up Bianca. Thank you for becoming a member, darling. Thank you so much.
Of his nephew. And frankly, that's not an unusual response. What's unusual is the next steps Duane Davis takes. Unusual for the normal person, maybe not unusual for in-gang culture. Duane Davis decides he is going to organize a retaliation, that this beating cannot go unanswered. Then he runs into a person named Zip Martin. Remember the Zip Martin that was a connection with Bad Boy Entertainment from New York? And Zip Martin tells him that he has a gun and that he can come help him out.
Okay, where do you go to? What do you tell Zip right then? You tell Zip, hey, we're gonna go handle this shit or whatever?
Yeah, like, if y'all want us to come, like, you know what I'm that they was they gonna get 662 club.
Who said that?
Everybody.
Everybody out there?
Yeah, everybody. You want to come?
Well, how do you know that Zip's got a gun? Did she tell
It
you?
was in the lobby, in the lobby.
Did you ask her? Do you have one or just tell her, hey, I got
Yeah, that's when they asked you, we need some help. I said, yeah, okay, cool.
I don't know what he gave you.
Yeah.
So later,
Folks, let me just jump in here for a second. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm as serious as colon cancer here right now. Keefe D, more than likely, once you get in the clutches of law enforcement, the authorities, you get to doing too much. You get to telling them all sorts of shit. You get to making up shit. I did. If I know you've got me, you caught me with a semi-automatic weapon in the Bronx, New York. Oh, my God. In 1987. Imagine a semi-automatic in 1987 in the Bronx. You know how much time I was supposed to do? I started saying anything, throwing people under the bus, putting gun charges on niggas, talking about who was bringing up guns from Virginia, anything to get out of this situation. And I believe that Keefe D is a liar, and he lied a lot. Just want to say that.
Duane Davis organizes 2 vehicles to go over to the 662 Club. Before that, he gets the gun from Zip Martin. He goes out to his Mercedes-Benz, gets the gun from Zip Martin, and then after some time, he assembles 2 cars to go to 662 to violently confront Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight for the beating of his nephew. And you'll hear that Duane Davis wasn't initially in the white Cadillac. He goes into a van, and Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, they go in a white Cadillac, and they go to Club 662, waiting for Tupac Shakur, waiting for Suge Knight, waiting for this violent confrontation. And what you'll learn is that Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight don't show up while they're there.
We went up to 626, they didn't show up. We waited about 15, 20 minutes, they didn't show up. So they're like, let's go get some liquor. We stopped at the liquor store. I got out the van, they had to jump in the Cadillac.
So what you hear Duane Davis say is he got out of the van and goes into the Cadillac. And the plan at that point is to go to a liquor store, get some booze, and then go back to the Las Vegas Strip and party. What the original intention was before Orlando Anderson was beaten at the MGM Grand. But on the way back to the Las Vegas Strip, they see a caravan of cars. And that caravan included Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight.
Yeah.
And in that white Cadillac, before the shooting occurs, Duane Davis explains that the driver is Terrence T. Brown. In the rear driver's side is DeAndre Dre or Big Dre Smith. In the rear passenger side is Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. And Duane Davis himself, Keefe D, is in the front passenger side. And this is how Duane Davis explains the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah. The little liquor store was right there. Then we came up Harlem at the Las Vegas Boulevard. And shit. Here they come in that BMW with a car. And bros, Tupac, Tupac. We like, there you go. Hey, the U-turn, we wasn't supposed to make it. Just wanted the U-turn. They was in a little lane. We just pulled up on the side, checked every car to see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac, he gave us another way. Otherwise, they would gone away. He always had what you might do. They was we got him.
You did a U-turn, so then you pull alongside of it. You guys are in the car. Have you already handed him the gun at this point, or at what point do you hand him the gun?
I thought he was gonna pull on my side. You know, that's one of them that going to the out for him. You know, he pulled on his side.
So you were fitting the glass if you had to, or you were just?
Yeah, we would have been on my side all the time.
Okay. So you hand the gun to the back seat.
Yeah.
You can hear playing.
I gave it to Dre. Dre was like, no. And Lane like, dude, fuck.
So what you hear Duane Davis admit, is that as they see Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight driving to Club 662, Duane Davis, along with Terrence Brown, DeAndre Smith, and Orlando Anderson, decide to make a U-turn, confront Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. Duane Davis has the firearm. It's a firearm he got from Eric Von Zit Martin, and then he passes it to the back. Duane Davis says that if they were on his side, if Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight were on his side of the vehicle, he would have shot them himself. But because they were on the other side, he handed it to DeAndre Smith. DeAndre Smith, according to Duane Davis, did not want to shoot at that time. So Orlando Anderson shot into that car. Duane Davis explains this over and over again.
Literally on the street.
Okay, Lane starts blasting. You say Suge looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you.
Yeah.
Are you looking at this?
I didn't know he does something to say, you know.
When he looks over at you, and then
Can I ask you guys a crazy question? Objectively speaking, this is the objective perspective. You may or may not know, Tupac is one of my top 5 greatest of all time. A prolific poet. A poet, even though he died at an early age. However, objectively speaking, Did he have to face the smoke at some point? He was a New York nigga. Born in Harlem Hospital, 1971. You're in the West Coast. The West Coast talking crazy. I don't think he ever, did a drive-by because he was out there with Shock G and them niggas in the Bay. Now, they're dangerous out there, but Tupac was a dancer, right? So did Keefe D and the rest of them say, hey, he's got to go. He's out here faking a funk. I just want to ask you, objectively speaking.
Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
In the
of
back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside
And
there?
I see the bullet going, sure, yeah, I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead.
You see
He
this?
must have scraped him or something in the head or something.
A piece of glass went into his neck right here.
And he had the thing in the head.
A little gray.
I thought he was dead.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, did you guys stop the two girls? Did you go to stop the car and let them get off?
Yeah. And we made the right.
Okay, but he stopped what you said, why you cool, and got off.
And we made the right, and so for all the Seabreeze and homeless. Stupid bitches. We shot their window around and they stopped.
So Tupac's trying to jump in the back seat. And what should have done? Just duck him?
Duck him. He couldn't really duck because he was too big, Yeah.
One of the things Duane Davis talks about during the murder of Tupac Shakur is that there's a car full of women. I think he calls them broads at one point. Car full of women who are there as well. And you're going to hear from one of those women. And what she's going to tell you is that she disagrees slightly with Mr. Davis's rendition of facts. They were, in fact, communicating with Suge at Tupac's car, but they weren't talking to Tupac, they were talking to Suge. And what she says is she hears gunshots, she sees the white Cadillac flee, and then what Duane Davis interprets as them chasing her, she'll tell you is them just panicking and trying to get away. But she will say they inadvertently follow Duane Davis and the other people in the white car as they are fleeing. After Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur's vehicle is shot, Suge Knight makes a U-turn and heads back to the The car ultimately can go no further and stops. Police arrive, medical arrive, and you will hear that Suge Knight was grazed in the head and had some glass going in his neck. He ultimately survives those injuries and is released fairly quickly. You'll also hear that Tupac Shakur was shot multiple times, that he was brought to UMC, and that 6 days later, he succumbed to those injuries. And within 24 hours, the Cadillac and the assailants are back in Compton. They stay the night, and they drive right home as though nothing happened. But a war followed them back to Compton. Because
Mike DeBeast, thank you for being a member. With all due respect, sir, Tupac didn't have a choice. He had to go out west. New York niggas ran down in 1994, gave him some hot lead. He was ran out of town, my nigga. That's a whole fact.
while people were afraid to come forward to police, the police knew and the streets knew that Southside Compton Crips were responsible for this murder. And the war that follows at Compton is a bloody one. You'll hear that Mob Piru and Southside Crip members start shooting at each other. Within 10 days, 3 people are killed. A number of people are shot, including an 11-year-old girl. And what you'll also learn is that none of those cases were prosecuted. Why? Because in this context, in the gang context of this, the combination of gangs and guns is scary. And in this world, silence means survival.
Blade, thank you for being a member. I am going to be addressing some members' comments on the screen. Blade says, "Yep, Baby Lane couldn't let it slide that he got sucker punched, and nor should he." No, I'm sorry. Objectively speaking, this is gangland. We live this shit for real, for real. You're not gonna kick me in my head, stomp me out, and then I'm just supposed to take the L. No, not in gangland.
The one person who has a hard time being silent is Duane Davis. You're going to hear from 1998 to 2023, Duane Davis has given a number of statements regarding this case. So, as early as 1998, Davis spoke to the FBI. He admitted he was in Las Vegas during Tupac's murder, but he denies being responsible. Then in 1999, Davis speaks to the FBI again. And these aren't interviews that are focused on the Tupac Shakur murder. These are interviews regarding drug transactions and drug trafficking. But he does say that Tupac does come up, and Duane Davis admits to being in Las Vegas for Tupac Shakur's murder. Says he wasn't involved, but he was mad about the fact that Orlando Anderson was beaten, and that his plan was to handle it in Compton had Tupac survived. Then in 2008, the interview of clips we've heard today, in a secret interview with the federal task force, Davis admits to his role in the murder of Tupac Shakur. And we do need to talk a little bit about this 2008 federal task force. Because what this task force is investigating is not the murder of Tupac Shakur. What this task force is investigating is another rapper's murder. A rapper by the name of Christopher Wallace, somebody who is known as Biggie Smalls, so the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace got murdered 6 months after Tupac Shakur was killed. And there was some allegation that the LAPD might have been involved. So a federal task force was formed to determine what happened to Christopher Wallace. And the interesting thing about the murder of Christopher Wallace is that Christopher Wallace is killed leaving a party in LA. Also at that party, Duane Davis. Christopher Wallace there was a suspect vehicle that involved a Chevy SS Impala, and Duane Davis happened to own a Chevy SS Impala. Now, as a result of that, the task force decides, well, let's look at Duane Davis. And the thing we know about Duane Davis is that he trafficked narcotics. And so they were able, through a CI and an undercover, to have a drug transaction with Duane Davis. And as a result, Duane Davis now has a case, a big trafficking case. And so the federal task force approaches Duane Davis and his attorney, and they say, hey, look, we want information regarding the murder of Christopher Wallace. That is what we are trying to investigate. And what Duane Davis says is, I don't have any information about that, but I can tell you about what we did. I can tell you about Tupac. And that's what he does. Yeah. He tells a federal task force that about his involvement, what you've heard, his orchestration of the murder of Tupac Shakur. That secret conversation, that proffer, was secretly reported and released later. In 2009, Davis is being so helpful to federal authorities that he actually flies out to New York to try and get Zip Martin to implicate himself in the Tupac Shakur murder. Zip Martin at that time was dying of cancer, was out of the game, and really did not engage with Davis.
R.I.P. to Zip. What a good nigga he was. What a good nigga.
In 2009, though, Duane Davis gives an interview to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Detective Dan Long. Now, Duane Davis is more guarded in that interview. It is a different setting than the interview of 2008. It's not a secret proffer agreement. But Duane Davis does admit a number of things. That he was in Las Vegas, that he was mad about Orlando Anderson getting beaten, that he was the boss, that he was in the white Cadillac, that he procured the firearm that ultimately killed Tupac Shakur. Then in 2011, the landscape changes. Because in 2011, Greg Kading, the guy who was leading the task force in 2008, the guy who organized the secret proffer between Duane Davis and the federal task force, he leaves law enforcement and decides he's going to publish a book about his investigation into Biggie Smalls, the guy who was killed 6 months after Tupac, and Tupac Shakur. And what he puts in the book.
Salute to Blade. Blade's a contributor, a member. That's a whole fact, Blade. This is premium black news. Never mind world affairs, economics, the real estate market. We got to focus on pure nigger shit on a Monday.
Is that Duane Davis confessed to the murder of Tupac Shakur. Yeah. The book tells the story about his admission, about himself, but it also tells the story of Duane Davis telling about his nephew's involvement in the murder, about Big Dre's involvement in the murder, about Terrence Brown's involvement in the murder. And this is a problem for Duane Davis because that meeting was supposed to be secret. And now his cooperation with federal authorities is open to the world. Not only that, Greg Kading is now profiting off Duane Davis's life story. So, in 2017, Duane Davis decides to go public. He's approached by the producers of a show called Death Row Chronicles that appears on BET. And this is just a small portion of what he says is his motivation for appearing.
When I went in Keefe D days, I was popping, king, creative drug dealer. I'm the only one alive that really can tell you the story about the Tupac Shakur.
Come on.
People have been pursuing me for 20 years. Newspapers, magazines. I'm coming out now to tell the story because I got cancer. I got nothing else to lose. All I care about now is the truth.
Right. Let's go. Fuck it.
Duane Davis says, all I want to do now is tell the truth. And in the 2017 public interview, he's a little evasive, but he admits to being the boss. He admits to being in the white Cadillac. And he admits to be part of the murder of Tupac Shakur. And when he says he's the only person that can tell what happened, he's right. Because by 2017, Terrence Brown is deceased. DeAndre Smith is deceased. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson is deceased. Terrence Brown was murdered in an unrelated incident. Orlando Anderson was murdered in an unrelated incident. And DeAndre Smith died from health issues. Remarkably, in 2019, Duane Davis then decides he's going to publish his own book. And with regards to the book, it is certainly a lot of self-aggrandizement. But again, the core remains. He was mad about Orlando Anderson about the beating of Orlando Anderson, his nephew. He was in Las Vegas. He got the gun. He was in the white Cadillac, and he handed the gun to the sheriffs. And what you'll notice is a constant thing that always goes through these statements is Duane Davis's visceral anger at Tupac Shakur for putting hands on his nephew. In the book, he says, them jumping on my nephew gave us the ultimate green light to do something to their ass. Then Duane Davis decides that he's going to do public interviews regarding his role in the murder of Tupac Shakur.
So you ended up getting in the car with Baby Lane and them?
Yeah, the car was on, yeah. We ran into them, went to the light on the sunset and Flamingo, and dude, we acted like he was in a parade or something, and that BMW hanging out with him, hey, it's Tupac, it's Tupac. And them bitches, shit, they was hollering for him. Yeah, they were that motherfucker. They came up on the side of him. Oh, shit.
Davis's public admissions mirror his private life. He admits to being a leader of Southside Crips. He admits the significance of the fight over the death row chain at the Lakewood.
Guys, let me jump in here for a second. According to AI Overview, yes, a published book or memoir in which a person confesses to a murder can be classified and admitted as legal evidence in Las Vegas. Also across Nevada. Taking money or a book advance does not invalidate the admission. So for those who are saying, well, he took money, so technically they can't hold him accountable. No. In Vegas, it works against you if you took money. It does not invalidate the admission, just to be clear, okay?
He admits to being in Las Vegas the night of the fight. He admits to being angry that Tupac stomped Orlando Anderson at the MGM. He admits that he was hunting down Tupac and Suge, first going to 662. He admits that he got a Glock 40 from Eric Zip Martin for the purposes of hunting Tupac. He admits that he was in a white Cadillac with his gang members looking for Tupac. He admits to seeing Tupac in a black BMW and then changing directions, making that U-turn to confront Tupac and Suge. He admits to putting the gun he obtained that night in the back seat of the vehicle so the shooters could shoot. And again, what remains, even as late as 2020, 2021, 22, is Duane Davis's visceral anger at Tupac Shakur.
He didn't, my nephew never jumped on no fucking Tupac. Come on, man. Tupac was wrong with two little fucking shoes. I mean, don't you think he was wrong? Honestly.
I mean, yeah, I think he could have, reacted in a better way.
You listen, you don't think that man is wrong?
He could have reacted in a better way, I guess.
I'm talking. Vlad is his fucking biggest fan. He admitted that man is wrong.
Guys, let me jump in here for a second. Where is that interview from? The interviewer's voice sounds familiar. However, so far, the audio that we've been listening to and watching with Keefe D, I have to say the presentation is poor. In the age of Chat GPT, why wasn't this audio enhanced so that the average person and the jury could hear it? I'm having trouble hearing this stuff. Yes, no? Yeah, that's art of dialogue. Okay.
I appreciate that. He never jumped my nephew didn't jump on him. He jumped on my nephew was a kid, man. My nephew was a fucking kid. He was a grown ass man, dude. You know what I'm saying? He was a fucking kid, dude. That's why he had on the channel. He's a fucking kid, dude. You know what I'm saying? They was wrong. My nephew never jumped on him. They jumped on my nephew. My nephew didn't throw a punch, man. Shit was wrong, dude. Jumped on the fucking kid, dude.
And this anger is not just demonstrated publicly, but you will hear as recently as 2024, privately, in a conversation with his son, he talks about his feelings about Tupac Shakur, nearly 30 years after the murder.
What I do is I'll pay out in the morning, dude. Oh, you stop the drink and put it on. Oh, we just go back in. No, that.
Years later, that is the visceral anger that Duane Davis had for Tupac Shakur. It didn't, in 2.5 hours, he took care of what he thought was the proper response. And 28 years later, he still is angry about what Tupac did. On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur publicly, on camera, participated in a humiliating beating of Duane Davis's nephew, Orlando Anderson. Duane Davis knew that in his world, that required a response. And over the years, in private interviews and public statements, and even in private calls, Duane Davis has repeatedly told us over and over again about the anger he felt and his own role in the revenge drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur. And now, nearly 30 years later, we're going to ask you to finally hold Duane Davis accountable. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody want to call in, or do I just keep going with the more opening statements here? Let me just say this. Objectively speaking, I'm not buying that Keefe D was angry. He could be frustrated right now, frustrated that he didn't cash in, that he didn't get a bag. If he did play a part in popping Tupac's top, right? We all get frustrated because, I never got paid. I never got paid. Look in live chat real quick. Wicked Hebrew salute. I got so frustrated one time, not angry, frustrated because my associate's sister wouldn't loan me $100 to get some coke. I put a gun charge on the bitch. Anybody ever heard of Red Hook projects? I'm as serious as colon cancer. I sent the police up in Red Hook projects because the bitch wouldn't loan me, and she had the money. Frustration, not anger. Let's continue on here.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Stamp, do you wish to give your opening statement at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Wait just a quick second.
Of course, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Yeah. I think this is the immaculate.
Frustration doesn't mean you want somebody dead.
You got it, or do you want IT to assist you?
I think I got it.
Okay.
This is it,
No.
right?
Clay Jones, thank you for being a member. I got your comment on the screen. Low down star, LOL. Yes, the lowest of the low. So I don't think you understand what fish scale was in 86. Bitch wouldn't loan me $100. That I can't get 100, bitch. Me call Jake on you.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. We spent a lot of time, I think, when we were picking a jury to determine who would be the right jurors for a case like this. Obviously, we want people who are going to reserve judgment until the end, but really look at the evidence with a critical eye. Now, what the state has just told you what they believe to be the evidence in this case. But really, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself if what they're saying is really truth or fiction, fact or fiction. I don't know if some of you recall, but I had asked the question specifically about what you were holding in your hands. And right now, for instance, you're all holding notepads and pens. That would be a fact, right? And in this case, for instance, I had asked before about the idea of, I can just do this, right? Microphone. I'd ask some of you if that microphone was buried and dug up 30 years from now, would it still be a microphone? The answer is yes. And the reason why that's important is because in this case, what they are telling you, they're representing it to be a fact when it really is fiction. And it's up to you to determine what the facts are in this case.
Right.
Now, I'm going to give you a timeline here for you to understand just a little bit of how this is going to work, because there's so much evidence in this case that we have to sort of compartmentalize some things. And what I've done is really just sort of focused on the 3 detectives that work this file from beginning to now. First detective you will hear about is Detective Becker. He works the file. He's the original detective on the scene. Detective Long takes over the case for about 15 years or so. And then it ends with Detective Mogg, who presents this to the grand jury in 2023. But why this timeline is relevant is you have to see the span of time for yourself. 30 years. And ask yourself this: what facts do they have after 30 years? Now, Detective Becker does what every homicide detective does when he arrives on scene. He's assigned to the case. He starts his investigation. At that particular time, though, Tupac Shakur was not dead. He was critically injured. He was at UMC. And it isn't until 6 days later that he passes away. But Detective Becker starts his initial investigation because it's pretty serious. And as a result, he just takes over the investigation. What he will testify to is that Flamingo Cole on a Saturday night, in the middle of a fight between Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon, it was very busy when he arrived. And he arrived at a time where he was able to determine cartridge casings, 40 caliber, that was found at the scene. That's another fact.
Salute to Harvey Dent, 718, brand new member. Thank you for coming on board. Harvey Dent on the screen.
At some point, they're going to learn. He learns that potentially it was a Glock 40 that was the actual firearm that was used in this case. And then when crime scene analysts arrive on scene, they document the evidence. And they document the cars. That will be important, and you'll determine at some point why the cars are documented. And with regard to Detective Becker, what he'll tell you is police officers write reports. Critical. Hugely important. Why? Because at some point in the future, like in this case, 30 years later, Detective Becker will not remember details like he would if he had what? His report in front of him. And that's going to be important for you to consider in this case. Now, what Detective Becker does, though, is because of the outcry, the attention, the media focus on this case, he took his file and he secured it in his office under lock and key. Because he was worried about leaks in Metro, leaking information out to the public, because so many people wanted to know answers to the question as to what happened and who did this to Tupac Shakur. Now, what you're going to find is, when Detective Becker testifies in this case, that a lot of his reports are now missing. They're gone. Which is Metro's responsibility to hold and to pass on to the next detective, and then finally to the next detective. Now, Detective Becker also did not trust Compton PD. Why is that important in this case? Because there's an individual by the name of Reggie Wright Sr. He was a lieutenant working in Compton in charge of the gangs in Compton in terms of investigations. His son is Reggie Wright Jr. He was the head of security for Death Row Records.
That's my nigga, Reggie Wright Jr. Salute.
The same security that was here in Las Vegas on the 9th of September 7th, 1996. Death Row Records was affiliated with Mob Pyru Blood, and detectives Ladd and Brennan from Compton answered directly to Reggie Wright Sr. Becker did not trust Compton PD. And the one thing that he really didn't trust is that most of their information came from confidential informants that were not reliable. And he'll tell you that. And because of his intuition, Compton PD was shut down in September of 2000 due to internal corruption. They just evaporated that police department, and the sheriff's department for LA County absorbed the responsibilities for the police department in Compton because of the corruption that was there. Now, what facts, right? Just like
A salute to Big Yosef, the big Jew out of Canada. Yosef, shalom. Good to have you back on board.
pads of paper that you have in your hand and the pens that you have in your hand, what facts can we determine from Detective Becker's efforts? First and foremost, we know that Tupac was shot multiple times. That's a fact. That can be proven. We know that it was with a .40 caliber firearm. That's a fact, due to the cartridge casings. On the corner of Flamingo and Cobalt. That's also a fact, right? We're on board so far? We know the date, September 7th, 1996. That is a fact. At 11:17 p.m., we know that to be a fact as well.
Hang on a second. Guys, did Tupac get shot in the testicles? Oh, it's not funny. Back in 1994 in New York? What was that? Quad Studios or something like that? Did he get shot in the testicles?
And then finally, that he was in a
God, I hope it wasn't with the 40 cal. Sheesh.
Died 6 days later. Those are facts that will not be refuted by anybody in this courtroom during the time that we spend together. But here's the one thing. There are no facts to point to Keefe. Not one. You're going to hear about this over and over and over again. No facts like the microphone in your hand or the pad of paper that you have that you write on. Detective Long takes over the case in 2002, and he has it from 2002 to 2017. He was, interestingly enough, on the gang unit, and at the time of the shooting, he was in gangs, and he had been one of the first to arrive on scene. He will testify and tell you that every time he did something on this file, he wrote a report. Because that's important. That's what you do as a police officer. And he conducted follow-up interviews, and he made some travel to Compton. He will tell you those things.
I mean, no disrespect, but the older generation, like myself, we heard that Tupac shot himself at Quad Studios. Anybody can speak to that? I'm not trying to clown the man. He's gone, but just I was always told he shot himself.
His role in all of this. But here's the thing. Detective Long also encountered some challenges in this case. They had to hide the case file with Metro because people were still accessing the file in Metro, and they weren't authorized to do so. So they changed the case number so that people couldn't find the file. In addition to that, what you're going to learn is LAPD reached out to him, called them up and said, hey, Detective Long, we have the gun. And we've tested it, and it matches back to what you're looking for in terms of the weapon that killed Tupac Shakur. Detective Long goes to LAPD, gets the gun, transports it back, gets it tested, and it comes out as not a match. LAPD tells him after, we gave you a fake gun to test you out. This is the level of, I don't know how to put it, that was going on during this time period between Metro, LAPD, and Compton. This is what's happening during this time period. Leads, according to Detective Long, became very scarce and stale, meaning that it was just taking a long time for him to follow up with people. Witnesses became unavailable. Why do you think that is?
I have to jump in and say, I love the defense PowerPoint presentation. Whether they're facts or not, the presentation is top tier. This is the way you lay it out for the jury, and then you can give them a printed out version when they go to deliberate. A1.
Because of time. So as a result, memories started failing because of that time. So Detective Long had these challenges. But here's what Detective Long does. He interviews Keefe in 2009. Sits him down, has an interview with Keefe, just like the state said. And guess what happens? Detective Long doesn't even know that Keefe had actually spoken to a task force the year before. How is that possible? Metro is the agency responsible for the investigation of Tupac Shakur's murder, and they don't even know about this. No one in that room in 2008 told Detective Long or Metro what was going on. And you know who was in the room in 2008? You had FBI in the room. You had DEA in the room. You had LAPD in the room. You had the United States Attorney for the Central District of California in that room. And Detective Long does not know about any of that. What you will also learn.
Salute to my nigga Rob Lowe. He spent Skrilla, so I have to put it on the screen. Rob Lowe, not you snitching now. Come on, Rob Lowe. Come on, Rob Lowe. You put niggas' names out there like that. And even if I know this or heard this, I'm not going to say for certain. I salute to that man, Rob Lowe, on the screen. He's putting somebody's name out there. To my knowledge, that man, a good man who I knew from the dance hall clubs back in the 80s. To my knowledge, he never admitted to lining up Tupac. But thanks for the donation.
Is out of all those people in that room, not one person verifies what Keefe D tells them. That the FBI, the gold standard of investigation in our country, did not go out and follow up on what was said. Now, one of the things the state showed you was a picture of a car and indicated there was 4 individuals in that car. And he tell you that at some point, 3 of those individuals are dead and Keefe is the only one that's remaining. But at the time that he gives his statement to the task force in 2008, there's another individual that's still alive. They never interviewed that individual to verify if that information was true. Why not? Because the FBI just fell asleep, that the LAPD just didn't care. Keefe was never charged for any of what he said during that time period. And it's because they knew he was full of crap. Otherwise they would have. Why wouldn't they? When Detective Long comes back to Las Vegas, he goes and he talks it over with the Clark County District Attorney's Office. And you know what happened then? They didn't charge the case either. In 2009. Ask yourself the reason why that is. It's because they just didn't care about Tupac Shakur or his life? Or is it because they looked into it and realized we can't verify this information, we don't believe this to be true?
Yeah, it's a nothing burger.
Why would the Clark County District Attorney's Office not charge him in 2009? Now, what facts do we get out of Detective Long based upon what he did for those 15 years? We don't have any facts. Outside of statements made allegedly by Keefe D and other people, we don't have anything to verify any of that information. Not one single thing to corroborate the statements made by that man in 2008 or 2009. Not only by Metro, but by the FBI, by LAPD, by the DEA, by the United States Attorney's Office. No one corroborates.
Let me jump in here for a second. Okay, if Keefe D gets convicted, what type of prison life at this stage would he be facing? Let me look in the live chat. He might live better inside than out in the world. He would have free medical. He would have free dental. Keefe D's in his 60s. You can't put him to work for sweat equity. He's probably got a bad back. Eyes are bad. Probably has diabetes. Let me look in the live chat. What type of prison life would Keefe D live? We used to say back in the days, some niggas in the penitentiary are living swell. Are living swell. Niggas got that state soap. Oh, that state soap is lovely on your skin, I heard, right? You can go to school. You got church. So where other than smashing bitches, what are you really sacrificing if Keefe D goes to the penitentiary? I just had to ask.
So 2017 comes along, and an entity called the Center of Investigative Reporting, they file what's called a FOIA request with Metro. And what that means is FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. It allows or requires government agencies to give up information if you ask for it. That's the goal, is to be transparent. And people wanted to know what was going on with the murder files. This is 2017. This is years after any of the statements that were made and anything else. Where's the investigation? What's going on? Well, Metro said, no, we're not going to give it to you. So in 2018, the Senate turns around and files a lawsuit against Metro to force them to give them the file, to show them what work had he been doing over, at that particular point, I don't know, what's that, 20 years? That's when Detective Mogg enters the picture. What you will learn is that Detective Mogg basically says, I'm here just to close out the case. He's not here to solve the mystery of who killed Tupac. So with everything you have in front of you that you're now hearing for the first time in terms of the statements that were made in 2008, 1998, 1990, whatever, Detective Mogg comes along and says, I'm just here to close out the case. That's his role. And what you're going to learn is Detective Mogg.
Salute to Wicked Hebrew. Thank you for being a member. Hope they put him in there with Suge. Wicked Hebrew. Suge Knight is an old nigga who walks with a cane and he has bad eyes. What is Suge gonna do? Those old niggas will be sitting around playing Chinese checkers together.
Mogg received a copy of what's called the Death Row Chronicles in 2018.
Oh my God.
It's not a deposition. It's not testimony under oath. It's edited and it's done for extreme purposes. He receives a copy of it. You know what happens when he receives that copy of the interviews that the state has basically shown you in this case? No charges filed. Why? So, Keefe writes a book, allegedly. Right? Allegedly, he writes his book called Concrete Legend in 2019. You know what happened with the book? Right? Even he confesses to it. What you find is no charges filed. What is going on? District Attorney's Office doesn't want to charge the case. No charges filed when the interview happens. No charges are filed when the book is written. What is going on?
What's going on?
5 years goes by. And nothing is going on with the case. But Detective Mogg says he's closing it out. Detective Mogg turns around and applies for what's called a search warrant. Now, what a search warrant is that in July of 2023, around that time period, a search warrant requires a police officer to get permission from a judge to basically violate the sanctity and privacy of your home. Right? There's got to be legal reasons for it. He's got to go through that process, and he's got to ask permission from a judge in order for him to get that. And what he does in that search warrant application is he assures the judge, hey, what we are looking for is in the home. The thing that's going to help us solve this crime,
Right.
who killed Tupac, is in the home. And he signs an affidavit, and that's important. I want you to remember this. He signs an affidavit attesting to what he's saying to this judge to be true and correct. What he says is, I think we have evidence in Keefe D's home that will solve the murder of Tupac. So up until this point, they've got all these statements, they can't be corroborated. So now they're saying, we have evidence in this home that we think probably is in the home. And as a result, we're going to find this evidence. It's going to help us solve this case. What I'm going to tell you right now is they don't find it. And in the meantime, Detective Mogg retires. He now becomes Mr. Mogg. And Mr. Mogg goes to the grand jury. And in the grand jury, it's a secret proceeding. We're not there. The defense, isn't sitting like we are here. It's just the prosecutors. There's a panel of people called the grand jurors, and you have people come up and they testify under oath. And there's really no way for the defense to challenge any of it because it's done in secret. We don't really know about it. But in this particular case, Mr. Mogg is sworn to testify truthfully. And you know what Mr. Mogg does? He just reads pages of the book into the record. He doesn't do any more in terms of an investigation than read pages of a book into the record. He never documents in any of his efforts any verification of the book before he reads it into the record. He walks up, gets on the stand, and reads the book as if it's the gospel truth. And that's what he does. He treats that book like it's fact. Now, what you're going to find out about Mr. Mogg is that he never wrote a report. So when he took over the case in 2017, all the way up until when he retired in 2023 and was in front of the grand jury, he never wrote a report. Not one time. Not like Detective Becker and not like Detective Long and not like any other police officer who does their job. This man never writes a report. In fact, what happens is he transitions, right? He's a Metro detective, he retires, and then he gets a job working as an independent contractor for the district attorney's office as an investigator. And as an investigator, he doesn't have any police power. He continues to work as a lead detective on this case, even though the procedure is you hand your file and your officer's report to the next detective in line. That's how this works. But he keeps the file for himself and he starts billing against the file after he retires as a detective with Metro. Because now he's an independent contractor. That's important to know. Why is that important? Because with the
Are you guys catching all of this about Mr. Mogg billing with regards to the Tupac case, but he never wrote a report? Pay attention.
evidence is going to show you is that he backloaded his work. And when he finally writes a report, it's not an officer's report, it's an investigative report that spans from 2018 to current, and we just received it about 5 weeks ago. The importance of capturing everything you do, the accuracy that you would need to be able to be in court on a murder case, not some type of, college paper that you forgot to do and then the last second just put something together and, get it out the door. Mr. Mogg does not do any of that. That's going to be important later for you to consider. Because according to that report that he submitted 5 weeks ago or so, he never verified the book. According to that report, he never investigated any of the alternate theories that were out there. And you're going to hear about those alternate theories. There are people who have developed over time answers to the question, who did this and why? He never looked into any of it. Which I think, at the end of the day, don't you want to see what's out there to help you with your investigation? And according to his work, his report, he did more on the case after he became an investigator than he did before when he was a detective. What I'm going to tell you right now is what you're going to find when you listen to all the evidence that his work was biased, sloppy, and incomplete. Those are the three things you're going to determine for Mr. Mogg. Now, because of the fact that in terms of the evidence itself, he doesn't have much, the state's going to lean pretty heavily on their witnesses. I'm going to give you a sampling of the type of people you're going to run across in this trial based upon their witness list in this case. First person is this guy named Reggie Wright Jr. He's the security company for records. And what he is a felon. Second of all, you're also going to find that he's a former Compton police officer. He worked for Compton PD for about 5 years, and apparently he got disabled. At some point, he becomes a felon. You're going to learn about that. And his father, like I said before earlier, Reggie Wright Sr. was the head of the Compton PD gang unit. What you're also going to learn about Reggie is that, once again, he was supposed to be protecting Suge Knight. Where was he the night of the shooting? In addition to that, he orders his security team to not carry firearms the night of the shooting, before the shooting took place. What you're also going to learn is he wasn't even around when the shooting occurred. So the principal, meaning the person he should have been protecting the most, would have been Suge Knight, the head of Death Row Records. This man was nowhere to be found. He was sitting at a club called 662 down the street, waiting for Suge to show up, while he left his people that were working for him unarmed in the vehicles behind Suge Knight. And when push comes to shove, he orders his people to lie to police during their investigation. That's going to be qualified then. That guy's going to be qualified then. In addition to that, when everything was said and done, should not go to prison because he was not supposed to be in a fight in Las Vegas. He violates his release. Guess who takes over Death Row Records? Reggie Wright Jr. Now, the state is also going to bring in other people with unreliable positions, including criminal histories, financial motivations, and inconsistent statements. That are the people and the quality of the evidence that you're going to listen to in this case. Just to give you another example, there's going to be an individual by the name of Devonta Dirt Rockley. Who is he? He's been a paid informant for years. You're going to hear that they have paid him to be an informant. He will, of course, say whatever he needs to say to avoid his own criminal actions, but his testimony will be inconsistent. And that's what you have to really rely on. Is what exactly is he going to say, and can you even believe it? In addition to that, you're also going to learn about a disgraced LAPD detective by the name of Greg Cady. The state told you about him. He wrote a book. He benefited off of what was happening with regards to Keefe D. Now, Greg Cady, he stole the file. What you're going to learn is he actually stole the file. He took the Tupac and the Biggie case files and walked out the door. This is an LAPD detective that they are using, or one of the people that they're going to be focusing on to establish their case. He writes the book, and then he holds himself out as the person who solves the murder. That's Greg Cady. That's the LAPD detective. Now, what you're also going to learn is Greg Cady, when he was a detective with LAPD, was basically caught manipulating witnesses. And because he was caught manipulating witnesses, it led to cases being overturned as a result. There was a court finding on this issue. A judge determined that.
Can I jump in here for a second? I'm going to open up the phone lines after Keefe D's attorney finishes his opening statements, but he's doing a great job. I'm very, very entertained with his presentation again and how he's executing, Keefe D's position during this trial. Phone lines will be open shortly. Thank you for your donations. Hey, Peaches, good to see you. It's been a long time. Bill, I got your donation via Cash App. Thank you, sir. Guys, the Cash App link is at the top of the live chat. A little bit later, I do want to talk about the Candace Owens-Andrew Wilson debate. Objectively speaking, Candace ate his food. She gave him a verbal tongue lashing, and then I started doing a little research on Andrew Wilson. I was somewhat aware of him, but I really didn't care about his grind. And I'm going to play a video with someone on his platform, some white chick, ripping into him about his wife's 3 baby daddies and 2 marriages. You guys up to speed? Wow, he took a brutal ass whooping, but we'll talk about it shortly. I just want to let you know what we're going to be discussing here later on today.
And there we go. That's Greg Cady. That's a witness in this case from them. Now, your challenges, right? I mean, gosh, we're sitting here, there's cameras in the room. I mean, there's things going on. But it's really time. Like, how do you, as jurors, try to figure out time on this case? There's been so much time. Delays. By who, though? And there's corruption. How do you look at your information that you're receiving with anything more than just like skepticism? Like, you're going to look at this stuff and be like, well, I mean, you have a motive to lie. You have a motive to tell or deceive. And it's because at the end of the day, there's not actual facts. When you get past all the talk and me talking, just look at the actual facts. What facts do you have to support any of what Keefe D said on any of his interviews or in the book? When you look at this relevant timeline again, and you see the length of time, ask yourself, what facts do they have to even put Keefe D in a car in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996? What facts? When you look at the video that happened at the MGM, look for them. Try to find them in there. Try to find any of the other individuals. Remember, he said there's 3 individuals in the car with him and Orlando Anderson. Orlando's in the video because he's getting beat up. Find any of those other individuals on the videos of the MGM. Look for evidence that shows that Keefe D was even in Las Vegas on the night of the fight. Receipts, credit cards, a picture of him standing next to somebody else, maybe watching the fight from another casino. Something, maybe something. In the book, you're going to learn that Keefe says that he was at the fight. He was sitting on the second row. He was sitting with all the celebrities, and he's dressed in his finest gear. There's not one iota of proof that he was ever at that fight. But you know who does show an iota of proof that he was at the fight? Suge Knight. Suge Knight was raided, and at some point...
Guys, is Reggie Wright Jr. going to be called to the stand? Is Reggie Wright Jr. going to be called to the stand? Reggie's a content creator. I'll fuck with him heavy, but I'm not sure, you know, how he's going to play this out if he's called to the stand. Reggie Wright Jr.
There is a ticket stub to that fight, the Tyson versus Southern fight with Suge Knight's possession. Because he went to the fight. And you would think, a fight like this, you want to show everyone that you were at the fight. There's no evidence at all that man was even at the fight. When we take fact versus fiction, really at the end of the day, what you're going to hear from witnesses that will testify to this.
Also, coming up later on, thank you to, I think your name is Penelope. Thank you, darling. She sent me a clip with Andrew Wilson struggling to open a pickle jar. You guys know about this? And then I forget the biracial girl's name. She's on that Jubilee show. She tried, right? And then she gave it back to Andrew Wilson, and he started talking about she put grease on the jar. Was he saying that because she's biracial?
Is that Keefe D was known to do this. That's the testimony you're going to hear in this case. That's what you're going to hear about that man right there. And so you have to ask yourself the question. If I just say things, is that going to end up being one of those things where I'm going to be headed up for a murder if I just keep repeating the fiction? I keep repeating that? The answer is no. You have to corroborate.
Look at Keefe D. Nerves of steel. That's an old Compton nigga. You can't break him. Can't break him.
Everything I say in order for it to be true. Otherwise, it's just that. Or fiction. And at the end of all the time we spend together, what you're going to find is that the state cannot prove to you beyond reasonable doubt the claim that Keefe had anything to do with a first-degree murder with use of deadly weapon.
I guess maybe they get taught how to do that.
Yeah. Like
Wait, I got your comment on the screen.
Architect. All right. He goes off.
Well, what do you mean, Blade, how the Jewish Defense League was trying to shake down Tupac? Tupac was a white woman lover. I don't want to call the guy a hypocrite, but he was talking that hot black shit, and he was smashing Madonna. Put a one in the live chat if you ever saw, was it the letter from Tupac? Tupac and Madonna were writing letters, correct me if I'm wrong, when he was in Rikers Island. He broke up the relationship because he didn't think it would be a good look. Right or wrong? Tupac had a thing for the pink toes, like Martin Luther King Jr. What are you talking about, Blade? The JDL.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this
Okay.
session shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
First name is Gary, Garry. Last name is Dale, Dale.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Giacomo, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sir, back in September of 1996, how were you employed?
I was working for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department at that time.
And how long did you wind up working for Metro?
25 years total.
September 7th of 1996, what was your assignment?
I was assigned to a bike team on bicycles on the strip, Las Vegas Strip area.
Is the uniform similar to the ones they have today where you're wearing the yellow shirts, or were you wearing something different?
Yellow shirts and black pants.
Direct your attention to right around 11 p.m. What part of the strip were you working?
I was working the a little bit further south end, south of Flamingo.
Did you have a partner?
Yes, I did.
What was his name?
Richard Golgart.
While you were working on that area of the strip, did you cause there to be some sort of car stop of a vehicle?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what was the purpose of stopping this vehicle?
I initiated a car stop on a black BMW that had no license plates.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
First, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibits 1 and 2. Now, there's some obvious markings on here, but these appear to be two aerials of the Las Vegas Valley from generally around the time period of the 2096 area.
Yes, sir.
Accurately reflect kind of the locations that they're describing on there. Lingo, Harmon.
Yes.
Move to admit 1 and 2, Judge.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted. You may publish.
I'm going to start with exhibit number 1. And right next to you, don't click it, but there is a mouse that you can roll around with a pointer. Can you generally tell me where this car stop occurred?
Is that confirmed that the cop on the stand right now was on Vlad TV? Is that confirmed?
It won't work because you're doing it off of your computer.
I have it plugged in. It
Oh,
works.
there it goes.
So it will work.
Trying to wrap around the boulevard here.
So if I told you that red dot's Harmon and Flamingo, or sorry, Harmon and Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yes, sir. A car stop was right around, I believe it was right around this area.
So just south of Flamingo on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yes.
When you approached the vehicle, did you recognize the occupants?
No, I did not.
Why did you stop this vehicle?
It had no license plate on the back.
When you approached the vehicle, did the occupants communicate with you?
Yes.
And did you, at that point, did you learn their identity?
They told me who they were, but just as identifying them, not.
Did you know them?
No, I
when
did
they
not.
told you their names?
They told us their names because we asked them their names, but I didn't know. I mean, I had no knowledge of them before that. We ID'd them.
As you sit here today, do you recall who they were?
Yeah, Tupac Shakur and Marion Knight.
May I approach?
You may.
Showing you grand jury exhibit number 3. Is that how the two of them appeared to look that evening when you approached them?
Yes.
In particular, Mr. Shakur is wearing.
What a janky presentation. You got this old ass ex-cop sitting there. I'm sure he's got cholesterol issues and bad eyes, and he remembers everything from that point in time.
Or has on a very large gold necklace.
Yes.
Did you talk to him about that necklace?
Yeah, we talked to him for a few minutes out there, and I was remarked to him, "Wow, man, that's a huge piece of gold," or something like that he had around his neck.
Would you describe your interaction with them as congenial?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask them about the license plate, why their vehicle had no license plate?
Yes, I did.
And what was the response?
They stated that they were filming a video, so they had taken the license plate off because they were filming a video going up and down the strip.
Move to admit 3, Judge.
Any objection?
I'm sorry. No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted. You may publish.
And this large gold medallion is what we're talking about, correct?
Yes, sir.
How did that interaction with Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur end?
We told them that they were going to have to put the plate back on their car, and we warned him and released him.
Did you remain down on the strip, in the strip area after they left that car stop?
Yes, sir.
We'll fast forward about, let's say 10 minutes later, something unusual happened. What happened?
We were continuing riding on the strip area. We were heading southbound on the boulevard, and we heard some calls come out about a vehicle. Can't remember exactly what was said, but heading up towards Harmon, we saw the vehicle that had been described in the median of the road. It looked like it had ran up on the median and was stopped there in the middle of the boulevard.
What do you do when you see that?
We approached the vehicle.
Is it you and Mr. Goldberg or
Mr.
Officer
yes,
Goldberg?
Officer Goldberg and I.
And do you see either of the two people that you saw earlier in the vehicle?
Yes.
And who is that?
Marion Knight was outside of the vehicle, walking around, talking, and Tupac Shakur was being removed by EMS people.
As Marion Knight is talking, do you recall anything he's saying?
He was telling us to take care of Tupac Shakur. He had Marion Knight had a chunk of shrapnel or something in his head. He was bleeding, and when I went to talk to him, he was adamant that we needed to go and care for Mr. Shakur.
Did you then go to Mr. Shakur?
Yes, I did.
And then what do you do? What's your responsibility as it relates to Mr. Shakur as the EMT's working on?
I was trying to talk to him to find out what had happened. Excuse me. Gather information to see who had fired at them.
Did you wind up riding anywhere with Mr. Shakur?
Yes, I rode to the hospital and the
during-
ambulance with him.
During that time period, between the time you get to Mr. Shakur and the time period he gets taken into the hospital, are you able to have any sort of communication with Mr. Shakur?
He was still talking, and I was trying to convince him to tell me the name of whoever his assailants were.
And did he ever respond?
Yes, he responded, no, we'll take care of it. So something like that.
Said, no, we'll take care
We'll
of
take care of it, something like that.
And that's the only thing you were able to gather from Mr. Shakur.
Yeah, I couldn't get him to talk to me any further than that. That was repeated a couple of times.
So Tupac kept it G. I just got lit up like a Christmas tree, but I still ain't telling. Do you think he looked at the shooter? Did Tupac see the shooter in the hail of bullets?
I'm going to approach with a few photographs. Obviously, when an incident, well, let me back up. When an incident like this happens, there's first responders, but then there is detectives, crime scene analysts, everybody who's called out. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Showing you what's been marked as grand jury exhibit number 4. You recognize the individual who appears to be inside that vehicle at that time.
Dan Ford.
Do you know what he did for Metro?
At the time, he was a detective. I was not there when that photograph was taken, but at the time, he was a detective. I'm not sure what he was, homicide or general assignment or
Could be a crime scene.
crime scene analyst, CSI.
And then I'm just going to show you a few other pictures of the vehicle itself. Showing you state's proposed exhibits 5 through 8. Just flip through those.
Okay.
Is that how the vehicle appeared to you when you first arrived on scene? Obviously without people in it.
Right. On the scene of the, where it stopped in the middle of Harmon Boulevard.
Move to admit 5 through 8.
Any objection, Mr. Stamp?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted, you may publish.
And then finally, while you were at UMC, did you collect some personal items off Mr. Shakur?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as state's proposed exhibit number 33. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
That's the objects I removed from Tupac Shakur, I impounded those into evidence. There should be a property report for those.
Let's talk about that large gold chain we see in that photograph right there. The second time you came across Mr. Shakur, was he wearing that gold chain that's around his neck?
No.
And so you weren't able to recover that from him at the hospital?
No.
Which I'm just going to put up a few of these photographs.
Okay. The clerk's letting me know that 4 was not admitted.
Move to admit 4.
Any objection, Mr. Sam?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted.
Showing you 4. That's Mr. Ford appearing like he's inside that vehicle.
Okay.
5. That's the front of the vehicle. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, she's typing down everything, so you got to answer yes or no.
Apologies.
That's the rear of the vehicle without the license plate still.
Yes.
Number 8 is the driver's side of the vehicle.
Yes.
And oops.
Mr. DeJacmo,
Right now I
33
put the
also
wrong
not
one up
admitted.
there.
Okay. It's down.
There you go. 7. That is what the passenger side of that vehicle looked like.
Yes.
Finally, for you, 33. Those are the items you were collected off Mr. Shakur at the hospital.
Yes.
Judge, Mr. Samt has requested, and I've agreed to also offer Dan Ford's CSA report, as Mr. Ford is not physically capable of coming to court to testify.
So that'll be admitted via stipulation.
Yes.
What exhibit did you want it to be?
I guess we could just make it next in order, which I believe is 143.
All right, that'll be admitted via stipulation as 143.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. I think 33 has been withdrawn. They have not been put up.
And based upon that agreement,
This is 33. 33 is also not admitted.
move to admit 33.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted.
And based on that agreement that we've reached with Mr. Samt, I believe he has no objection to the rest of Mr. Ford's crime scene photographs at this particular scene, which is state proposed exhibits 9 through 32.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, 9 through 32 will be admitted via stipulation. You may publish.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay.
And you are Mr. Gale.
Yes.
Well, welcome back to the courtroom.
Thanks.
So let me ask you this. So how long had you been working for Metro until you retired, basically?
13 years.
I see. And at the time when you were on the bicycle on September 7th, 1996, how long had you been working for Metro at that point?
Yeah, I thought that's what you asked to begin with.
Oh.
I started in 83, so it would have been, right around 13 years.
I see. And obviously, when you are first a police officer, you go through an academy before you become an actual police officer.
Yes, sir.
And you learn skills and techniques and things to help you become a police officer.
Yes.
one of those things I would imagine would be writing reports.
Yes.
Now, fair to say though, in this particular case, what you had seen, what you had done was basically you saw a license plate that wasn't on a vehicle, you stopped them, you asked for their ID, and at some point you just allowed them to continue on their way.
Yes.
So there was no need to write a report about that.
No.
Okay. Did you write a report and with regards to that stop?
No.
Okay. Now, when you were present at the scene and you saw the vehicle stop, do you know if any other vehicles were behind it?
No, I did not see any other vehicles behind it, so I don't know.
So there wasn't like a caravan or a line of vehicles behind the black BMW when you stopped the BMW?
No.
Can you describe for us a little bit about what the area was like on the night of September 7th, 1996?
It was pretty average night for the Strip as far as the amount of traffic flowing and things like that. Not particularly crowded or packed or anything like that. The area we stopped them in had some lighting, but it wasn't like right in front of a hotel or something that cast a lot of lighting on the area or anything like that.
I see.
You know, nothing out of the ordinary.
So there was nothing out of the ordinary as to that particular date and time in terms of any special events going on in Las Vegas at that particular time?
I'm sorry, there was always something going on the Strip. So I heard that things were going on that night, but I was really aware of them.
Were you ever aware that on that particular night there was a...
He was not aware of the Tyson fight? We're talking about the night of the Tyson fight. Yes, correct me if I'm wrong. That was not a huge, big deal?
championship boxing match between Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon that was being held at the MGM?
Yes.
All right. And I would venture to say that that would be something that would have been briefed to all the police officers prior to you going on your shift for that night.
No, we didn't really talk about it.
All right. And then with regards to the amount of traffic, you're saying that even though this championship fight had taken place, in your opinion, there wasn't a lot of traffic on the strip?
Not more than ordinary.
Okay. And when you say not more than ordinary, can you describe for us what that means exactly?
So the strip is always pretty crowded, or was at that time. So, that's why they had us out there on bicycles, was because we could get in between in and out of cars. So I guess when we conducted the car stop, there was enough traffic that we felt comfortable that he was going to have to stop and pull over. That he wouldn't be able to just take off on us.
Right.
And that's the best description I have. That's why we rode bikes out there. So, but there was always traffic in that area. So it's always congested over there.
Okay, and that's probably the best way to put it, right? It's still congested for Las Vegas.
Yes.
But it's normal for Las Vegas to
Yes.
be congested.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it wasn't like, for instance, I don't know if you were around Las Vegas in 2020 when you could just take your bicycle and just ride down Las Vegas Boulevard with like no one around, right? It's not that kind
Right.
of
It's not like that.
All right. And when you say congested, meaning that cars could not go very fast because there's always cars around in that area.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me jump in here for a second. Do you think that this former cop who was on a bike after being on the force for 13 years was put out there on a bike for a reason? Not to say he was incompetent, but you don't do 13 years on the job and wind up on a fucking bike on a strip. Yes, no? You move up in ranks after 6 years. If you wind up on a bike, that means, you're not living up to the expectancy of the department, and you're just out there, giving out tickets.
Now, in addition to that, your testimony was that you had arrived on scene, and then at some point you're actually in the ambulance with Mr. Shakur.
Yes.
Being transported to the hospital.
Yes.
And the hospital you were going to was UMC.
It was UMC.
Okay. Now, when a police officer first arrives on scene, is that police officer considered to be the primary officer until such time as they're relieved of that duty?
Ordinarily, yes.
Were you the primary officer at that particular scene? Were you the first officer on arrival?
I don't really remember. There were so many of us that showed up like at right around the same time. There's just a lot of officers showed up there pretty quickly.
Right. Now, I mean, you have a pretty clear memory of this. Did you review any records or have any meetings with the district attorney's office prior to your testimony here today?
Yes, I did. I reviewed the records.
Okay. And once again, you do that so it'll help you refresh your recollection as to what occurred 30 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. Even though this might be something that's unusual, right? You have a celebrity who's shot on the strip. You still have to refresh your recollection in order for you to remember things.
Some of it, yes.
Yeah. And once again, you're doing that so you make sure that for this jury that you're accurate about what you recall 30 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, you were showing a map, and I'm going to show you again here. This is State's Exhibit number 1. See this?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me this map? Do you know if this map was the actual map in 1996 of the Las Vegas area?
No.
You're smiling.
It's just a long time ago. It changes so much down there.
Yeah. So we know that this is a map of Las Vegas.
Yes.
But you cannot tell us, for instance, if this is 1996.
No, I cannot tell you
Okay. So, for instance, on the top.
Salute to MW1018. Thank you for being a member. His comment says, lawyer looks like Gene Simmons. I would say the lawyer looks more like Kenny G. If you ask me, but thank you for your comment, sir. You guys ever heard of Kenny G? He's a old clarinet saxophonist. I think he was from Seattle.
Here, this doesn't look like the Sphere, does it?
No.
Does it?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then down over here, does this look like T-Mobile or anything like that, as far as you can tell?
No.
Okay. Now, and once again, I just want to make sure I'm clear for the jury. This particular map, as it sits here right now, as it's here, for instance, we have what looks like down here at the bottom. I'm pointing where the MGM label is right here. Do these look like walk bridges over the streets?
I can't really tell.
Let me just scroll here real quick. Does that help you?
Yeah, they do look like walkways.
And fair to say that those walk bridges in 1996, people were still walking on the streets, crossing like pedestrian crosswalks, right?
I'm trying to recall. I couldn't honestly recall.
Yeah,
I remember them taking the crosswalks out and putting those walkways in.
Right.
I remember when they did that, but I don't remember the year they did it.
And once again, I'm not trying to. It's not a catch-a moment.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't want to say something that I can't be sure of, but I remember when I was down there working, they no longer allow traffic to cross on foot across the strip because of all of the accidents that we had. So they put those walkways in when I was still working.
Right. Okay. Now, and just finally here with regards to the when you're riding on the strip and you're riding with your with the other person that's with you, you said at some point you were made aware that there was a shooting that had occurred, and the radio traffic indicated that the vehicle you had stopped was potentially the vehicle that was being involved. Remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us just really quickly here, based upon State's Exhibit number 1, and once again, we're not looking at it in terms of an accurate 1996 view, but just in terms of the streets. Can you tell us where you were at when you took off to wherever the vehicle was? And I'll just pull that here real quick so you can.
Thank you.
Sure.
I couldn't really tell you where we were because my memory serves me. It was called out right around the same time as we were rolling up on that vehicle.
Okay.
There was shots fired call and vehicles involved, and then we rolled up and saw that vehicle in the middle of Harmon.
And when you rode up and you saw the vehicle, can you tell us other vehicles that were behind that vehicle? Were there any other like vehicles in an entourage behind the black vehicle?
There were several vehicles.
Let me jump in here for a second, folks. This is the Tupac murder trial out of Vegas, and the opening statements. We already watched them together. I'm trying to be very, very objective. However, I'm on record saying free Keefe D. Free the rat. Free the rat. There's no murder weapon other than him supposedly, allegedly telling on himself. This is just, if you ask me, an investigation that they're trying to close it out, button it up. Some politician somewhere is getting ready to run for some type of, public office, and they want to be the one to beat their chest. Yeah, we figured it out. Now, let me ask you a question about this former cop. I'm not trying to assassinate his character. Is he an old coke user? He's got jowls. Do you guys know what jowls are? Jowls, Jowls. Some people say jowls, but it's jowls. He's got jowls. Let me see. Can you see my arrow right there? When most Caucasians get older and they develop jowls, it's from drug use. Some drug use. So was he on the bike, on coke? And maybe he doesn't really remember any of this. This is, if you ask me, a total waste of time. But here we go.
People stopped all over the strip. It was cluttered with cars. So I couldn't tell you if they were with them or not.
Sure. Did other police officers aid in terms of just securing the scene and making sure that anything of evidentiary value was going to be kept in that area?
Yes.
Because I would imagine it wasn't just you by yourself.
Right.
Your partner, other officers arriving on scene would have started to help as a team.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect examination, Mr. DeJacmo?
No, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you have any questions for this witness? If you do, please raise your hand and I'll walk you through the process.
I don't know shit.
Seeing no hands, thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Dale. You are excused.
Thank you.
State may call their next witness.
This Your Honor, the state calls Ingrid Stokes.
Keefe D. Cool, calm, and collected. Rat behavior. Rat behavior.
Yes.
If Keefe D gets convicted, he's gonna live like a boss at his age.
Yes. Can you be seated?
Uh-oh, who's
Can I
this?
please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Ingrid Stokes, INGRIDSTOKES.
Thank you, ma'am. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Paul, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Stokes.
Good morning.
Back in 1996, did you have a different last name?
It was Johnson.
Okay, so you went by Ingrid Johnson back then? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you come to Las Vegas on the weekend of September 7th, 1996?
Yes.
Who'd you come with?
My best friend and some girlfriends.
Okay, can you tell me who they were?
Shalane, Tanisha, and Lauren.
And why'd you come to Las Vegas that weekend?
Well, when you live in LA, you go to Vegas all the time. It's just a party city. So we decided to go for the weekend. We were all off work. And so we went to come hang out, have fun.
And were you aware, and well, first let me take a step back. So you guys were living in LA at the time?
Yes.
What part of LA?
I'm even living at my dad's, which is Carson.
Okay. And then and you came out for the purposes to party. Were you aware that there was a Mike Tyson fight that weekend?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. There was always a Mike Tyson fight. But we were coming because my friend knew one of the managers or coaches, I forget what they're called. And we had planned on going to the fight.
She may have ham hock arms now, but she was probably a real eye catcher back in her days.
Did you end up going to the fight?
No.
What happened?
women in a bathroom, 4 women in a bathroom did not work. We took too long. We missed
Yeah.
the fight completely.
And so, where were you staying that night?
I believe we were at the Lexor or the Rio, but I think it was a Lexor.
Okay. And then, did you ever actually make it to the MGM where the fight was?
We made it to the let out, is what I call it, because the fight was already over. So everyone was kind of hanging out. So we went to see what was going on for the night.
And did you hang out there for a while?
I don't remember, but it would have been enough time to run into a few friends and say hello and hang out and maybe drink or two, maybe.
So, what did you do after hanging out at the MGM Grand?
Well, we had met one of my friends and they had mentioned there was somewhere they were going to go. So we decided, okay, we'll go there first and see what's happening before we decide, where we're going to end the night. So we all got back in our car, the rented car we took from LA and drove.
And do you recall what kind of car that was?
It was a convertible Supreme.
And did all 4 of you go into the car?
Yes, all 4 of us were in the car.
And what happened once you guys started driving?
That's a loaded question. A lot happened. We got in the car. I believe we left the MGM parking lot and then we went to the main street, Las Vegas Boulevard, I guess. And we were driving and I believe we were, I don't know, about 10 minutes after leaving the parking lot. And then we ran into Suge and Tupac in the car.
And when you say you ran into them, what'd that look like?
Well, we were driving, hanging out in a convertible. And my girlfriend, Lauren, at the time, she knew Suge. And she told us, hey, there's Suge. Pull up next to him. I'm going to ask them what they're doing. And so Shalane was the driver. And she slowed up close to them.
And so you said Shalane was the driver.
Yes.
Where were you seated?
I was a passenger in front.
In the front passenger?
Stop right there. So she was riding shotgun. Mammy with the light eyes riding shotgun. Again, don't be fooled by the ham hock arms now. She was probably a dime back in the days to ride in the passenger seat in the front. Let's continue.
Sure. So Shalane's driving, you're in the front passenger, and the other 2 women are in the back seat.
Yeah, Tanisha's behind me, and then Lauren is behind the driver.
After all these years, you still remember that, huh?
Well, yeah. Some things you don't forget. That one.
And so then when you start driving, when you see Suge and your friend starts talking to Suge, what happens?
They were talking and she was like, what's going on? What's happening? We look over and we pull up to the car and we kind of nod or say hello, that kind of thing. But we were in our own little world. While she was talking to him, he said, hey, we're all going to the club. Why don't you follow us? Get behind us. You can go with us. And so that was decided we'll go there first and see what's happening before we go anywhere else.
So do you follow, do you remember who's driving and who's in the passenger side?
Suge was driving and Tupac was in the passenger seat.
All right. I believe States Exhibit 3 has already been admitted. We're going to publish that. Is this kind of the way they look that night?
That was just like this.
And so you decided to follow Suge and Tupac to the club? Is that yes?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes.
That's okay. And so do you recall the name of that club?
66. It was an area code, so I remember it was 662 or 702, but I know it's 662.
And then what did you do? Did you guys start driving over to club?
We got behind them and we start driving down the Las Vegas Strip, and it was weird because there was a car behind us and they kept going around us trying to get in front of us. It happened quite often. It was really annoying. We didn't understand what was going on. And then at one point we were getting ready to turn to go on the main street. I guess Flamingo was on, or Flamingo, I think is what it's called. When we turned that way, I was like, what the heck's going on? People keep getting in front of us. I know how to get to the club. Let's figure out our own way. I can drive them. We can meet them up there. And so our plan was to get out from behind them.
So you were confused about the way the cars were moving.
Yeah, I didn't understand in hindsight, I know now, but I didn't understand there was entourage. I just thought, they were going to a club. We didn't think about it.
She probably had a small bottle of Alizé when she was on an E-pill. Let's continue.
And then at some point, on Flamingo do you stop at a light?
Yeah, so when we get close to the light, I tell Shalane, pull over, I'll drive. I know where I'm going. I've been there before. So we pull from around them, and then we stop at the light. And
And before this, oh, that's my fault, not yours. So before, when you guys are stopped at the light, where is your car relative to Suge Knight's and Tupac Shakur's car?
So I believe there was 4 lanes, a turning lane, the lane next to it, the middle, and then there was one for like the outside lane. So they were on the 3rd lane, I believe, and when we got off the lane behind them, we got out and we went past, and I think we were a car or 2 on the 2nd lane from the light.
And so were you behind or in front of Suge Knight's car?
We were in front.
So you're in the lane next over, a car or maybe 2 in front.
Yeah, exactly.
Then while you're waiting at that light, does anything happen?
Well, me and Shalane were going to change seats.
Shots got to ringing out. Take a good look at her fingernails. She's had a lengthy career, probably a RN. The nails not too long. Her skin still looks wonderful. Well kept.
I was going to drive. I'm the more aggressive driver. And after what, she was nervous with them coming back in front of us so much. So me and Shalane were literally head down, taking our seatbelts off when we heard the gunshots, when it's all hell broke loose.
And to be fair, you didn't see those gunshots.
No.
And then what do you do when you hear the gunshots?
I freak out and I scream, what the hell? I said, what the hell? And then Shalane is kind of half up, half down. And so I grab her head to bring her down. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then she has her hand on the wheel, but she's like frozen. And so I don't remember how many gunshots there were, honestly. But I know I put the car in drive and I told her, get the hell out of there and drive. And so I may even grab the wheel. Like I said, I'm very aggressive. And from that, she tried to drive off.
And then did you see the color of the vehicle?
Yeah, so we almost hit the car. When we were trying to drive off, there was a car in the lane, that last lane, that was the turning lane. And it was a white 4-door. I know it's like whitish. And we almost hit him. We were trying to get away.
Were you trying to pursue the white car?
Hell no. Just want to get away.
And then where did you guys go? Did you turn off? Did you follow them turning off? Or
we turned off. We turned the only way you could turn because it was a red light, which was down that first street past. And then when we turned right, we were just driving fast. There still might have been gunshots. I can't speak for anyone else in the car, but it was a lot going on. There's a lot of adrenaline. And then the first street we saw that was on the left, I was like, turn left. And we just turned down a random street that had like apartments on it.
Now, it's fair to say you didn't see who was in the car, right?
No, didn't look.
But did you go back to where the shooting occurred?
Yes, I did.
Were you nervous about talking about what happened?
I didn't think I had anything valuable to say, to be honest. So I wasn't nervous initially because I just was like, we came back because just when we wanted to know what happened. Because we left, so we didn't know. We didn't look around. We didn't see anything. We just left. And so when we came back, we saw there were a lot of police presence. And I wasn't a big fan of the police at the time. So I wanted to stop and talk to them and offer my help. But I also wanted to make sure if I could help, I would help. So
she said, I wasn't a fan of the police at that time. What was she? Was she moving weight? What was she doing? What was she into? I mean, she's still a good looking woman. I don't know how old she is, but you can look and see how she, has either been kept up or she keeps herself up. Her eyebrows, if I had to guess, those are nano strokes. Not to be confused with microblading or threading. Nano strokes.
When we went back, we told the officers we had been there when something happened, what happened when we left. And so he made us stop the car and get out the car. The police officer made us sit on the ground on the sidewalk in front of everything. Like cars are still, I think, may have been passing. So it was kind of an odd situation where they were like kind of rude to us. And then they're treating us like we're suspects. We really didn't know what happened though. And so they said, well, we need you guys, eyewitnesses, we need you guys to come downtown, and we're ordering a van for you guys to come, and had to sit there. I kept asking a lot of questions, but no answers.
Now, I noticed some of your friends aren't going to be here. Is there this fear about talking in this kind of case?
Absolutely, yes.
Why is that?
Snitches get dishes. I'm saying, not the coolest, but yeah, I know talking to police is not a thing we do in our culture anywhere in LA. It's not a normal thing. So there was that, especially in the 90s and 80s. There was multiple reasons why, but I didn't see anything. So I was kind of limbo. I didn't see anything. I didn't think I'd be beneficial. And then I don't know. I was going to offer some assistance, what I could, because I may have had more memory back then. I may have heard the number of gunshots. I may have had, more. But the police treat us so bad that I just we start shutting down, because we're like, if someone did it, they could come by and sitting on the ground. They can see we're sitting here telling people, even though we're not saying anything. So this was a really bad situation.
And is it fair to say that that was something that also would scare you, is that if somebody was seeing you talk?
Absolutely.
Objection, Honor, to leading.
What's your response, Mr. Paul?
I'm just following up on her question that she's going to lay the foundation to.
I'll sustain if you could rephrase.
Is it fair or unfair to say that you are concerned about people seeing you talking to police?
Yes.
All right. No further questions.
Cross-examination, Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Honor. Hi, Mr.
Hello.
You obviously, I would imagine you've never testified before about this particular situation.
No, I was in the grand jury.
Okay, so you were at the grand jury. And with regards to your testimony, when you were in front of the grand jury, did you meet with the district attorney's office prior to giving that testimony to the grand jury?
Not except outside the door when I got to the courthouse. Okay. I mean, the door of the grand jury.
I see. And with regards to that testimony, did you review any documents, records, anything like that in preparation for your testimony in front of the grand jury?
No.
All right. Now, asking you again for today, did you review any documents in preparation for your testimony here in front of this jury?
I looked at the grand jury testimony that I said, but other than that, no.
Okay. Now, when this thing had occurred, I would imagine it would have been a very traumatic experience for you.
Yes.
And at some point, you go back to LA.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
That's all right. It's just for the record. When you go back to LA, did you ever just sort of keep on top of it, like in terms of like articles that would come out in magazines, anything like that at all?
No, we didn't talk about that night for decades. We just didn't talk about it.
Let me jump in here for a second. Thank you for your support, guys. We do have a small goal at the top of the live chat if you want to contribute to the research that we're doing here today. Guys, did she say she was from Carson? Did she say she was from Carson? Isn't Razkaz from Carson? Correct me if I'm wrong. Carson is in between Compton and Long Beach. Yes, no? So she's used to hearing shots ripping out of Glocks. That's regular shit to her. I like the way she carries herself, but don't be fooled. If she is from Carson, back in those days, she was probably about that life. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. Now, did you ever at any point capture what you had remembered in a journal or anything like that?
I did a documentary, a couple of documentaries. Yes, years, like 20 years later.
I see. And in preparation for those documentaries, what did you use to refresh your recollection back then?
Talk to my girlfriend. I mean, more talk and try to remember pieces that I could.
Right. And your girlfriend was also present in the Sebring when it happened?
Yes,
as well.
she was driving.
I see.
No, that's right.
Now, just to describe us a little bit that night, you're driving in a convertible Sebring.
Yes.
And I'd assume that the top was probably down.
The top was down.
Okay.
Top down.
And the weather that night, was it raining?
No.
Can you describe for the jury what the weather was like that night?
It was Vegas in September. It probably, I'd be guessing, but I know what it wasn't. It wasn't raining. It could have been a cloud in the sky, but I wouldn't remember that. I just know it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. We didn't have any jackets. We had designer clothes. That's why I was mad. I had to sit on the curb. But no, it was a nice, cool evening. So I would probably say in the 80s, 70s, 80s. I have no idea.
All right, but obviously among the 4 girls, no jackets or anything that would indicate that it was cold that night.
Yes, no.
Now, in addition to that, your testimony was that you had pulled up alongside Suge Knight's vehicle at some point.
Yes.
Now, I noticed that you weren't given a map. Did you ever have an opportunity to kind of envision exactly where this had occurred?
I didn't forget that part.
Okay, if I were to show you a map, would you be able to point?
Hey, Ivy Dreams. She says Carson is a mixture of working and middle class families. Yes, but to my knowledge, it's heavy gang area. Just like, going back to the 70s, Compton was beautiful until the mid 80s came rolling around. So I mean, I'm not trying to say this is some type of disingenuous woman, but she's older now. She carries herself well, but she was probably back in those days a boss bitch from Carson.
Yes,
exactly.
Much as I can. Yes, absolutely.
Sure. I'm going to show you what's been marked in there as State's Exhibit number 1. And just for the record, I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 1. It's just an overview of Las Vegas. Does that help you at all?
No, not really, but I see the streets. It's what I thought. I'm assuming the red dot is Vegas Boulevard.
And when you say red dot, there's a mouse that's right there in front of you. You can use that to sort of move that mouse over to where. No, that doesn't do that.
I can point it, but
now let me do this.
When you're on our computer, can you do that? This doesn't
you can point it.
All right. So would this be? And
Yes,
I'm using my Sharpie. That's
yes,
the dot.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, that would be Las Vegas Boulevard. Now I'm going to point over here. Do you recognize this particular area?
Yeah, that's where it happened.
Okay. And this, I'm pointing now once again for the record, Flamingo, and it looks like this would be Koval.
Koval. That sounds about right.
Now, you were describing for us a little bit about where the cars were. If I were to give you a piece of paper, can you draw for us just a little bit better so we can have a better view? And
I can try.
Okay. You want me to approach?
Yes, you may.
And what am I drawing exactly again?
If you can draw for us where on that night where Koval was. And just for the record, you're writing Koval. Is it for the horizontal line or the vertical line?
It is the horizontal line.
Okay, so that's Koval. And then can you draw for us where Suge's vehicle was when you pulled up to it?
Well, we were behind it.
Okay.
So it would have been, I'm just going to make lanes and don't quote me. I could be off by one, of course. So I'll say this was Suge and we were behind. So this was, I'm going to put I for me. And then we moved and went right here. So this is where we end up parking. I'm not parking, but stopping at the red light.
That's fine. And just for the record, you have made a mark that looks like an S, and I would assume that would be for Suge's vehicle.
Yes.
And then there's another I, it looks like right there, and that would be for your vehicle.
Yes.
And then you have an arrow pointing to the next lane over where the I is now at.
Yes, that's where it ended.
Okay, great. And then when the shots, when you're, I guess, trying to change seats, can you tell us where you were at that particular point?
You mean in the car?
Well, not in the car, but where the car was.
It was here when the shots happened.
Okay.
And when we were trying to flee, we were trying to get in this lane to go around to get the turn.
I see.
And that's what we ended up doing eventually.
I see. So when the shots were fired, you were still in that I.
The I, yes.
And then you pulled off onto Koval.
Yes.
Okay. Now this area right here, what is this? What street is that?
What do you mean? This Flamingo? No, is this Flamingo? I'm assuming. I'm guessing. Like I said, I'm bad at direction on places I still go today.
That's right.
And then here was like a gas station or something right there, and then here was where we turned off right, which is where that first left was. So I don't know the name of the streets or anything.
No problem. I'm gonna show this to the judge. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. All right, Your Honor, if I could have this marked as defense exhibit, opposed defense exhibit A,
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
and move for admission.
Any objection to its admission?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so admitted. Did you want to publish?
I would like to publish it.
Okay, feel free.
Thank you. Now, showing you what's been marked and admitted now as defense exhibit A. All right, and I will just explain this for the jury again. So where you have Coble is actually the street Coble, is that right?
Yes.
And you have Flamingo, which would be the other street that's going vertical down the defense exhibit A.
Yes.
And then on the corner, it would be one of the corners, there's a gas station.
Yes.
Now over here, this S, that would be what you would call a Suge Knight's vehicle.
Yes.
And you were directly behind that vehicle at some point.
Yes.
And you pulled up, and that's the arrow pointing up to the next lane over, and that's where you were at, right next to Suge's vehicle.
In front of, not next to. That's why it's a little above.
I see. So you're slightly in front of Suge's vehicle. Was there another vehicle over here in front of Suge's vehicle?
I'm assuming yes, because we weren't at the front of the line. So yes, maybe two.
I see. Maybe two vehicles, but presuming that there would be at least a vehicle in front of Suge's vehicle.
At least two, I'd say, because there was one in front of me.
Okay. And then this lane over here is, what lane is that?
That's the a small lane that you could turn off.
Turning lane?
Yeah, it didn't say, but yes.
Yeah. And so at some point when the shots were ringing out, you just immediately just gassed the car and made a right-hand turn on Coble.
Yeah, into the turning lane.
Okay. And your testimony here right now, for instance, is that the top was down, but you didn't see.
No,
Yeah.
I was looking down because I was initiating changing my seat. So I would thank God I was all face down.
Okay. And when you pulled off and you made that right-hand turn, did anyone shoot at you?
Probably. I honestly don't know. There was a lot of gunshots.
Sure. Did any, after the event had occurred, did you ever observe any bullet holes in your vehicle?
There was no bullet holes in my vehicle.
Was there any shattered windshield as a result of, anything
No.
happening on the scene?
No.
Okay. And then with regards to where you were at, when your testimony was that you were talking to Suge was saying, hey, come to 662. Is that what was happening?
Yes.
And during that time period, you said, and I want to make sure I'm clear, that while there was a conversation about going over to Suge's place, but it seemed like everyone was sort of talking. Like it was like the girls in the back seat maybe were having a conversation or something like that.
No. Lauren was the only one talking to Suge because she's the only one who knew him.
I see.
So nobody, we were just like, oh, okay, looking like, because it wasn't our conversation.
Right. And when that was happening, did any of your people in your vehicle?
Did you catch that? She was so hot, she wasn't even trying to talk to Suge. She was there to be hollered at. Hold on, let's go back.
During that time period, you said, and I want to make sure I'm clear, that while there was a conversation about going over to Suge's place, but it seemed like everyone was sort of talking. Like it was like the girls in the back seat maybe were having a conversation or something like that.
No. Lauren was the only one talking to Suge because she's the only one who knew him.
I see.
So nobody, we were just like, oh, okay, looking like, because it wasn't our conversation.
Right. And when that was happening, did any of your people in your vehicle yell out, Tupac, anything
No.
like that?
Absolutely not.
Oh my gosh, it's Tupac.
No.
Okay. Now, during that time period, as you're over here behind Suge's vehicle or next to it,
It wasn't stressing Suge or Tupac. Did you catch it?
did you ever see, can you describe for me what Tupac was doing in the vehicle?
When we pulled up on the side of him and she was talking to Suge, he was relaxed, like sitting in the chair, sitting in the passenger seat. And Suge was relaxed talking to Lauren. Nothing, like there was no engagement.
Okay, so as you're sitting there and you pull up, Tupac was not hanging out the window and doing something out of the window.
Absolutely not, no.
Okay. His torso was not sitting on top of the window yelling, to his fans, Tupac,
No,
or anything like
there was
that?
no fans around. They were just driving in the car, listening to music like we were.
All right. And during that time period, when you were here during this time period, there's a red light
Yes.
preventing you from moving forward. And I'm once again going back to Defense Exhibit A. There's no green light allowing traffic to move in the direction of Coble.
No,
Okay, so everyone was stopped at that particular point.
everyone was stopped.
I have no further questions, Johnny. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? We do have one. Okay, so what I'll need you to do is write your juror number on the question and then write the question on a full sheet of paper and then hand it to my marshal when you're done.
Guys, I might run to the kitchen and get an albacore tuna fish sandwich. Albacore in water, for those who might be concerned.
Any questions from anyone else? Okay, perfect. Can I have the party's approach?
I got your comment on the screen. Thank you for being a member. Official, I can't read that, SK or. I don't remember what I ate last week, let alone 20 years ago. It's some cap in these stories. Well, I don't have a great memory either. But what that says to me is that she probably didn't do drugs and probably was not a drinker. Therefore, her memory is, still intact. Her faculties. Usually when they get older and they're still alert, and they don't have issues with nerves and stuff like that, it's because they didn't abuse their body.
Could you gauge what direction the shots were coming
Yeah.
No.
from? No? Any fault? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm gonna say it was just
You're
too,
okay.
it was too chaotic, and you're not, thinking about that, but no.
Okay. State, any follow-up based on that question?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any follow-up based on that question?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. You are excused. That went fast. State, any quick witnesses, or are we prepared to take a lunch break at this time?
Lunch break, sir.
Okay, sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our lunch break at this time. During the recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected.
Okay. I want to take a quick. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, guys. I want to go left here for a second, if you don't mind. So the recent debate with Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson, for those of you who saw it, for those of you who care, highly entertaining. And let me just say this, this is not to take Candace Owens' side because I don't support tribalism. She caught a lick, a sweet lick. $300,000 is what she was paid, in case you don't know. I'm going to play a clip here. Andrew Wilson, who most people didn't know, don't know, and after he got sauteed in this debate, now will not look to him in terms of any credibility. Let me just say that. He tried the typical Caucasian, condescending, cynical avenue with her. Not knowing that she's from Connecticut, not to be confused with the slums of New York, respectfully. Very articulate, a great researcher, whether you like her or not. She broke him down. And correct me if I'm wrong before I play the clip here. She signed a contract and they debated at her house, yes? Candace Owens is 7 months pregnant. Is this baby number 4 or number 5? I forget. She's 7 months pregnant. So Andrew Wilson and his team of 3 people came to Candace Owens' house, basement, wherever they were, roughly a 3-hour debate on the, according to Andrew Wilson, the overwhelming evidence with regards to Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter and killer of Charlie Kirk. So his mission was to expose Candace Owens, to show the audience she's just a conspiracy theorist and she has no evidence to her claims. I think that he didn't realize that most people just want to be entertained on the internet. Yes, no? Let me look in live chat. So all the details and the long drawn out, facts or lack thereof, that's not the main thrust of why people tuned in. People just wanted to see a debate. And I'm going to play the last 6 minutes of the debate. Hold on a second, because it's crucial. It's crucial. Where he got exposed. He got exposed. Again, his whole mission was that there is overwhelming evidence to prove that Tyler Robinson is the shooter with regards to Charlie Kirk. So without further ado, let me just play it. And you'll see how... Hold on a second. Let me get this off the screen, guys. I'm sorry. You'll see how he got caught in his own trap. And this is a very bad look for him. Here you go.
When you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it. If I may ask a question, is that all permitted?
Go ahead.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should, can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have to put your fingers up.
Okay, hang on. Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence in the state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined, and because it carries a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate someone.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
the more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
No,
people
I just
don't walk
want you
away?
to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And
What's the specific charges, though?
That is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those?
of justice, witness tampering, witness tampering.
Okay. And there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged with it.
Just the charges and then 7.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay. Got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
Massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7
violent
I said offense in the presence of a minor.
Front of a child.
Yeah.
So
what I said.
5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd degree felony. Now I did notice something. I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check?
Mind you, he's sitting there with an earpiece. Did you guys know that? On his right side, he's got an earpiece because he's the one who organized this debate, agreed to pay Candace Owens $300,000. He's got an earpiece.
My phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm
You
just
can.
curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
I'm
have
looking
full
I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go through my
names.
phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
so
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission. I'm
Yes.
just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia, and that was it. I downloaded for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Then-
I don't need to like. I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I don't need to
I
pretend
get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I
Yeah.
just, I have.
Anybody want to call in? Big Elvis, salute, sir. Premium Black News on YouTube. Thank you for your donation. Let me look in the live chat before we get back to Keefe D on trial. Anybody want to comment on Andrew Wilson versus Candace Owens? There's another clip, and I'm not trying to kick this guy's back in, but again, he's one of these Caucasian guys who his mission was to prove she's wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And there's another clip, and again, I'm not just going to call the guy racist. I don't know. Does anybody know his pedigree? Yes, no, maybe? There's a clip with him on his platform. I think it's called The Whatever. I've never watched it. And he's struggling to open up a pickle jar. And then there's a biracial black chick. She tries to open it. She passes it to him. Then he starts bitching and complaining about she got grease on it. Grease? Or from her hair? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Oh, there he is. Peace, left-handed. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Peace, man. What's going on with you? How you feel?
Good. I'm just sitting here going over the Tupac trial, which began today in Keefe D and Candace Owens versus Andrew Wilson.
I wanted to tap in on the Candace Owens versus Andrew Wilson debate, if I can.
Please, come
on. The Andrew Wilson dude, he sounds like a lot of people of a particular constituency. When they get caught up, they try to detour or they try to rock you to sleep. Right? The homie said, yo, it's 7 of them, name them. She asked him to name one. He said murder. Like, that's supposed to cover everything. Like, no, get it right. Isn't that what the job is of this debate?
Did you catch when he said, let's pull him up. Let's pull him up. Throughout the entire 3-hour debate, he hasn't said, let's pull anything up with regards to information. I mean, to fact check something, yes, but she just asked one question because contractually, she was not supposed to ask him any questions. Did you know that? Contractually.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm just going by what I see.
Yeah.
I'm not deep into it like that. But my point being, Star, is that a lot of cats, when they get, they ask you to bring up situations and you bring up specifics.
Right.
So when it's their turn to bring up situations, oh no, and they're going to talk in general terms or gloss over it. Right. Like, oh yeah, it's murder. I said murder, so yeah, that's supposed to fly. No, right. That's not how we go. So again, and I'm saying this to say something else. And what I'm really trying to say is that a lot of people, man, talk around the issue. They won't talk to the issue. They'll talk around the issue. And then when you ask them about specifics to bring some bullet points, as you said, bullet points to the table, they want to hum and haw and talk about on my phone and all this other nonsense, the weather outside. No. Let's get down to what we came for. Star, I'm not really big on this particular situation, but I know what I see.
Right. Okay.
Well, and I'm speaking to, and all I'm saying to you, my dude, is that Candace, was, ready and willing to hit him with the specifics, 1 through 7, bong, 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 bong. And all he could talk about was murder. Yeah. That's it. She just asked him to get specific, and he couldn't do it.
She caught a lick, $300K. $300K is what they paid her. And there's
okay. So there's a reason why he didn't do it.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's a reason why he couldn't answer her question as to why, the 7 points or whatever, to elaborate.
No. She contractually, she was not supposed to ask him any questions.
Oh,
He went there to prove she did not have any evidence with regards to her theory about Tyler Robinson being the shooter. Hey, man, I got a few other calls. Everything else good with you?
Okay. All right. So this was like a Jake Paul thing. Okay. I'll talk to you later, man.
Okay. Salute. Okay. Left-handed tapping in. Kid, I got your donation. Thank you very much. JR Cigar, good afternoon. Are you there? JR Cigar.
Yes, sir, Star. Good afternoon. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Good. What's going on, man, with AccuracySmokes.com?
Oh, www.AccuracySmokes.com.
Yes,
I'm having a flash sale right now, Star. You buy 2 boxes and you get 1 for half off.
Okay.
2 boxes for $150. So it's a flash sale going on now till Wednesday. And I'm doing that right now. Okay. Best cigars of the market from Dominican Republic. www.AccuracySmokes.com. And also please follow my...
I got it on my screen.
They are
on my screen right
Chronicles.
There. Yeah, it's right there.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to chime in on Candace Tyson.
Come on.
I wanted to... I'd like to give Candace a first-round knockout. That was a beautiful display of verbal jousting. She destroyed this guy. She had him he was stuttering his words. He didn't know what to say. And one thing about Candace, if you watch her, she thinks before she talks, and I like that she's very she talks with precision. She has a great debating style. So when you come at somebody like that, you better come correct. And she had, and I like how she told me to slow.
Well, hold on a second. Now, did you watch the entire debate? Because to be fair, I also want to ask, did she present any evidence with regards to her theory that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter? Did you watch the whole debate?
I didn't watch the whole debate, so I watched some of the clips you had and some of the clips on the internet. Okay. I didn't watch the whole debate.
Okay.
But just watching her and watching some of her show and some of her excerpts, she usually comes with facts, and she usually comes with stuff, and then she does her research.
Okay.
She's a great researcher.
Okay.
So she made him look crazy, and like you say, she caught a lick.
Are you familiar with Andrew Wilson prior to this debate? Did you know who he was? I have to say I didn't know, nor do I care. And moving forward, I won't be wasting my time on his platform. Did you know who he was before the debate?
No, sir. No, sir. I think Andrew Wilson, I had no clue who he was, but I think a lot of people probably didn't know who he was, but it's good for him because now we're talking about him. He paid her that money, but now he got what he asked for.
Okay.
And this is what, he got what he wanted. So we're talking about him. So, yeah, so she caught a lick. So
I got to take other calls. Great to talk to you, J.R. Cigar.
Thank you, Star. Salute.
Yes, sir, salute. Boris, are you out there? Boris said that Candace Owens took an L. The reason why I said earlier that most people on the internet just want to be entertained is because, we're looking at it, most of us, from the scope of, hey, this is exciting, or hey, this person is choking, hey, this person is not necessarily keeping up with the other one. But with regards to her theory, saying that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter, did she prove anything? To be fair, okay? Area code 443. Please watch the language. Good evening. Are you there? 443.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah.
Me who, sir? I don't know you. Me who?
I'm Jay.
Jay, how are you, Jay? How can we help you?
Yeah. I just, I watch the show all the time, but just tuned in and saw that you were talking about the Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate.
Debate, yes. Please watch the language. Please watch and turn that down in the background, please. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Got you right now. So, pretty much, I watched the entire debate.
Okay.
And I'm an avid fan of, Candace Owens. A few years ago, wasn't too much of a big fan of her, but people change, and she's definitely, in my opinion, changed for the better.
Okay.
And she's a critical thinker, and actually, seeks out facts. So, which is one of the reasons why, I've been keeping up to sniff with a lot of the things that she's been talking about on her show daily. And this guy, Andrew Wilson, he's one of the grifters out there that is pretty much working with Turning Point behind the scenes to actually try to change the public's view on Candace Owens, because she's getting, in my opinion and other opinions of people that watch her show, she's getting very close to the truth. And there's a lot of propaganda out there right now that's pretty much just trying to change everybody's perspective of what Candace Owens' work is actually doing, so people could think that she's crazy.
Okay.
And
do you know if she's having her 4th or 5th baby? I don't know.
Yeah. She never stopped having babies. She's about, her 4th or 5th right now. She's like 7 months pregnant, which is why
I'm asking you, sir. You said you've been watching her for quite some time. Is it number 4, number 5? I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely more than 3. That's what I know for sure.
If you don't know, just say, I don't know. I'm not sure. You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know she has 3.
So as far as Andrew Wilson, he wound up on the Joe Rogan show twice. Not that I'm surprised, because, culturally, Caucasians bond, and he was giving off this vibe like he was just very, condescending, cynical. Have you ever watched his platform? I think it's called Whatever on YouTube.
So the Whatever podcast is I'm not sure if you're familiar with Fresh and Fit podcast, but
I am, sir, but I'm asking you about Whatever. Do you watch it? Do you watch it?
I have watched it in the past. But
what's the name of the black chick or the biracial chick with the locks? And she's also on the Jubilee platform. You know what I'm talking about? Is she a co-host on Whatever? What is her name?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay. I'm going to play a clip with her and Andrew Wilson trying to open a pickle jar. Do you know the clip I'm talking about? And then, do you know that clip?
I heard you speak about it with the Grease situation. Yeah, that's how he is.
Have you seen the clip, sir? Have you? Just yes
no,
or no,
sir.
Okay. All right.
No.
All right. Well, listen, man. Give us your assessment with regards to the evidence. Did Candace Owens present any evidence to support her theory that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter, in your opinion?
Yes, in my opinion, she produced a lot of evidence. The evidence that kept coming up was this gun situation, and they kept saying that his DNA was on the rifle, but they kept omitting, which came up in the preliminary court proceedings, that there were 5 other fingerprints also on the gun. And Candace Owens shows proof on that on her show and during the debate, which would, bring up a lot of other questions on whose DNA this was. And also, the smoking gun, in my opinion, is that when the professional, I forgot the lady's name that was testifying, but she was the one that did the DNA research. She said that the alleged shooter, his DNA on the gun had the most degraded form of DNA. There were four or 5 other people's DNA on the gun, but his was the most degraded. So for somebody that just potentially just finished shooting somebody, probably wouldn't be the case. And she also provided the video that they kept bringing up on how it was 4K, clear that it was this young man, and she showed us the video, and you could clearly see he looks absolutely nothing like him. So she's just doing a lot of critical thinking and asking certain questions in order to really seek the truth. Which
I got to take the call, sir. I appreciate you. Salute.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you, man. Have a good.
What do you think, guys? I will say this, though, as sharp as Candace Owens appears to be, she's got her plate full with the Macrons and the whole, the allegations about is the First Lady of France really a man? Oh, let's come back to that. Oh, there he is, Boris. Good evening. Are you there, Boris?
Здравствуйте, старик. Как дела?
Good. I got your email earlier. You said Candace Owens took an L to Andrew Wilson, yes?
Yes, Star. I know you are an impartial individual, so I request of you to kindly play the link of the video that I have sent to you. The thing is, you have people, and I will call names out because, but respectfully, I'm doing this. I'm trying to illustrate a point. You have people, individuals like Left-Handed and the Cigar Guy, who admittedly say that they only watch 15 seconds or whatever it is. This is the TikTok generation of education. You know what I mean? They don't have the whole picture. They go off of vibes and the feelings, just like Candace Owens, and they say she has won. I am willing to destroy this whole narrative right now. If you can, please play the video I have sent to you by Milk Bar.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Boris, because I do want to get back to the Tupac Shakur murder trial. But just tell me what you sent me, because I don't want to just play something and I haven't looked at it myself. Where is your email here? When did you send that? This morning? This afternoon?
No, this afternoon, during the show, I have sent to you a link by Milk Bar TV, who does great job because he shows everybody how she retracts. You cannot debate with somebody who.
Boris, I'm gonna pass, and here's the reason why: because his video is 4 minutes and 37 seconds. His assessment is great, and from what I can see, and I'm scanning here, he's pulling up old clips of what she said on her show and putting them next to the clips of what she said during the debate. Yes?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is
hold on a second. Stay with me.
Because
stay with me. I
yes.
don't mean to cut you off. Andrew Wilson already did that, and he fell flat on his face. Again, I'm not saying she caught a body because I so much think she's a hottie. And personally, I really don't think she presented enough evidence to denounce Tyler Robinson.
She did not present any evidence.
Hang on, hold on. I'm not saying she presented a lot of evidence to denounce Tyler Robinson as the shooter, but most people just want to be entertained. This was not a trial.
Correct.
We just want some excitement. So I'm going to skip this guy's video, but thank you for sending it. Continue on. Go ahead.
Yes, so I agree with you. Most people, they do not want to hear about the physics of a bullet projection.
Right,
they want to be entertained.
Right.
Candace has, I wouldn't even call her a great speaker because she cannot even pronounce basic words. You know what I mean? She has the talent of dish galloping, which is a fallacy in which when I engage in a conversation with somebody, you are speaking to me rapid fire fast. You're telling me 20 points at once, to the point where you are a spin artist. We talk about, I try to give her the benefit of the doubt, to listen to one of her shows. I started with one point and I ended up with something totally different.
Right.
She starts with saying it was the government of Israel. Then she goes with the French Legion. Then she says this happened and that happened. Egypt. You know what I mean? And then you confront her. And when you say something to her, you say, okay, you have to prove. The burden of proof is on you. She says, I'm only asking questions. Star, do you know why she says that? Because the moment she says, I have evidence, and the moment she supposedly lists her sources, she is opening a big can of worms because they can come for defamation. She is hiding. This is called in debating. This is called the Mott and Bailey.
Boris, can I jump in?
Yes.
I appreciate this call. Thank you for your email that you sent me and other things pertaining to this Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate. If I can ask you, do you have a taste for the brown sugar, respectfully? You went hang on. You went hard in the paint. Hard in the paint with regards to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. You admitted that you did try to holler at her. Did you try to holler at Candace Owens?
Correct. I want to make a correction, Star. I said that whenever I was quote unquote trying to holler at Cheyenne Bryant was never to actually have a shot with her. I knew from the beginning she was a phony.
Okay.
So I had to approach and expose to myself and others as well.
I got that.
Is pristine
I got that, but you did say, you said, of course, when I said, did you try to smash? You said, of course, Cheyenne Bryant.
I never. I said that I tried to holler at her because I needed to have a reason to approach her. Okay. But I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like if she told me smash me, I wouldn't say no. I can't.
Right.
She's not my cup of tea.
Okay.
She's not my cup of tea. I would because she gives me vibes of the.
But hold on, hold on. I don't mean to talk on top of you. Did you try to holler at Candace Owens?
No, she's definitely not my cup of tea. I just I have a problem with people who spread misinformation, and this generation is completely cooked. You know what I mean? But listen, Star, I want to say, I am not a hater. I am like an objectivist. I salute her for finessing this idiot of 300K. You know what I mean?
Shit.
She did
a lick. He's a lick. He's a lick. Yes, 100%. This is capitalism. If she could make money off of him, go for it. He is an idiot because, like you said, he only damaged himself. At the end of the day, she will never concede to any of his points. She will never admit it. You can show evidence to her in black and white, and she will say, I'm only asking questions. She will never admit to it. So what was the point of it? If you look at her channel, everybody was clowning him, not because of the points he made. They were clowning him for moving his foot endlessly. They were clowning him for not knowing the 7 charges. You know what I mean? So it is a pointless battle.
And at the end of the day, the rules were on her home turf. She did not have to fly. She had princess treatment. She was making, rumor has it that she made 200K only in merchandise and advertisement. So she made 500K off of this dummy.
Well, hold on. No. They offered her 3. She countered with 5, and they agreed on 300. She got 300K hard cash. Now, hold on a second, because again, I can appreciate your attention to detail. What I know of you, I respect your pedigree. But now, you have to admit, it was a headshot when she asked him, "Were you an Army sniper?" And then he said no. And then she said, "Oh, well, your wife said on X that you were a sniper." Did you catch that?
Correct. I caught that. But Star, did you catch when Andrew Wilson
Boris, hold on.
Yes.
Let's stay there for a second, because he's
problem.
an admitted gunsmith of sorts, and he said, I don't know what she was referring to. His wife said on, and then I went to another channel, and they pulled up the goddamn screenshot. His wife said he was a sniper. So he must have told his wife at some point he was an Army sniper. That's kind of like stolen valor, yes?
Correct. This is a generation of grifters. I'm not saying Andrew Wilson is a saint and she is the devil. No, they are both one of the same. You know what I mean? And to correct you or to add to what you said, when he was confronted with this headshot, he said, "Oh, my wife said it colloquially. Right. I'm not just like an actual sniper. I have precision as a shooter." So, yeah, no problem. But if you pay attention to the events, the moments before that, when Andrew Wilson finished, she said, "I will not take cheap shots. I will not have a gotcha moment." You know why she did that? She was softening him, because the whole seven charge question was, in fact, a gotcha moment. She wanted for him to lower his guard so that she can pounce on him like a tiger. You know what I mean? She made him look like the lick that he is. No ifs, ands, or buts. I am questioning her analysis. I'm not questioning if I have no doubt that Andrew Wilson performed horrible. But the one thing he did manage to do is to prove that she has no proof.
Okay.
As they say.
I can respect that. If you say she produced no evidence, I can respect that.
She did not.
Okay.
Before I go, I want to make one thing.
Go ahead.
Star, people conflate absence of doubt with the presence of knowledge. Right. Just because Candace presents herself as this confident individual, they assume that she is speaking facts and everything that she says has merit to it and knowledge. She doesn't. She has nothing. When you confront her, she says, he literally asked her, "You have evidence that Israel did it?" She said, I cannot say that, because she has nothing. She, in order for her to keep the money-making machine ticking, she has to feed them nonsense. And last thing, she is facing a very, very serious lawsuit with the Macrons. I have looked into it. The Macrons
can we not do that yet? I want to come back and spend some time on that. I do know that she filed a motion to dismiss and other things, but I don't want to put that all together right now. Hey, man, I appreciate you.
No problem.
And one last thing, you do know that contractually she was not allowed to ask him any questions, and he had an earpiece in. Did you know that?
Oh, I heard about it, yes, but to be honest with you, I think she had an earpiece too.
No. You can see that there's video of him with the earpiece. So he had an earpiece. She did not. And that's why he accused her with her phone, questions, yada, yada. Listen, I got to take other calls, man. Salute.
No problem, sir. It was good talking to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're going to get back to the Tupac Shakur murder trial. Thank you for your patience. Guys, we do have a small goal. At the top of the live chat, if you want to contribute to the show, or we have Cash App, or you can use PayPal. If you're using PayPal and you are a sponsor, you can get a 30% discount on starting in September, because we're going to be changing up the banners, information, and the music starting in September. Okay, just want to say that. Hold on a second. There's the homie Aladdin. Thank you for your support via Venmo. Aladdin,
Yes, what's going on, sir?
How are you, man?
I've been sipping a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't know the topic. I heard the Tupac Shakur trial, but what's your? I'm sorry, I got paid today. I get paid during the day. You know what I mean? And what's your other? You have any other secondary topics I can chime in?
Well, hold on. No, stay with me. Listen, I appreciate you. Okay. Off the rip. Free Keefe D. Free the rat. Free the rat. The rat has been working with law enforcement over the decades, okay? He has done more good than he has done bad, you know? At the end of the day, what's that old saying? The needs of the many far outweigh the problems of the few. With all due respect to Tupac, he was a nigga doing too much out there in the West Coast, you know? Just pump faking. At some point... Come on, at some point, niggas was going to run down, whether it was Long Beach, Sacktown, or niggas from Vallejo. At some point, he was going to get got. So, you know, I'm saying free the rat. Go ahead.
He was trying to get a quick bag with the book, with the saying, I did it. Yeah. And then it came and it bought him, it bit him in the butt. Yeah. Now they coming at you. Somebody has to pay for this death. And you want to take credit for it to make some income. Well, now that bread is going to be in your commissary while you're in prison. You can't take credit for something and then don't want to take credit for it when they want to put you behind bars. You want to be known for the dude that got him or that was involved with it, but now it's time to go to jail and you're scared. You know what I'm saying?
How about we fast forward, Aladdin? Yeah. Okay, so let's say Keefe D gets convicted. Let's say they give him a decade. Do you think that the next 10 years of his life will be, you know, hard labor, or will he be living like, you know, like an older man? Listen, when people get older, what do? We downsize. We don't want a house with 8 bathrooms. Nobody wants to cut the goddamn grass. I don't ever want to see a French drain again. I don't want to pave a goddamn driveway. I don't want to be bothered with the roof. So he's going to be living in smaller conditions. He can just get up and go to the dentist. He can go to I don't know, the hospital. Whatever he needs, he'll have it right there. He's going to be an older man. So do you think he's going to be living really a bad life in the penitentiary? In America?
Not at all. I agree with you 100%. Look, I'm 45 years old, and I like eating at a diner on Sunday. And I'm 45. I want the diner and the waitresses to know me so well. Right. So hopefully if I make it to 60, they know my name when I walk in the diner. Right. And I'm starting that trend now at 45. I go there every Sunday, have meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans at the counter with a cup of coffee after my lunch. Because I want to be the old man in the diner one day. That's my dream. That is comfort, that's satisfaction, and that is appreciating getting older with time. So I agree with you 100%. And I feel like he's not gonna have a hard time in prison. You know, the old guys in jail, they read books, they drop off library books to the younger mates, they tell them about their time when they was outside. You know, he's not gonna have a hard time to do a decade. He'll be fine.
And let me just say this to niggas that always talking about something with the Badussy. Nobody wants old bussy in the penitentiary.
Whoa, who's saying that? Whoa.
No, I'm just saying the younger generation always talking about somebody getting raped in the penitentiary. Keefe D's an old nigga. Nobody wants to run down on Keefe D and gang bang him. I just had to say that. It's scary. I'm wilding.
Well, no, you know, that's because they never been inside, and all they know is what they seen on TV or what they heard. Yeah. You know, like I know the guys that been inside, the guys that happens to, they look for that action. You know what I mean? Real recognize.
Nigga say, hey, yo, pause on the screen. Listen, Aladdin, I gotta take a break, man. Everything else good with you?
Yeah, everything good with me.
I appreciate you, man. And I do get your donations on Venmo, man, just so that you know. Salute.
Oh yeah. But I want to tell you something. I'm about to start a new T-shirt line.
Okay.
And I'm gonna email you because I want to know how much it's going to cost to promote my line on your network.
I got you. All right.
All right. You
Salute.
take care.
Yes, sir. Salute.
All right. Later.
Okay. That was a little crazy about the old bus. He's an old nigga. Didn't he have cancer? What is it? Pancreatic cancer? Or some type of prostate cancer? Area code 876. Good evening. Please watch the language. Are you there? 876.
Good evening, Star. Wagwan. Blind visionary from Yard.
Blind visionary. How are you, sir?
I am fine. I wanted to touch on the debate, but before that, the video that you just played in regards to California.
Yeah.
Like I said, I lived there for 7 years in North Hollywood as well.
Oh, did you?
And when I got there, off Magnolia.
Okay.
Yeah, so like when I just got there, the 2-bedroom apartment that I was in, I was paying $1,350.
Okay.
And by the time I left in 2019, it was $1,900. And I looked it up while the video was playing on how much it's going for now, $4,300.
Wow. Yeah.
And like when I was leaving, the homeless encampments out on the bike trail was ridiculous. There were like RVs, like set up tents with tarps and stuff, and needles all over the ground, people nodding out. And I was just like, I'm not going back. And a lot of people I know decide to just throw in the towel, because even if you have a decent income, it's gone. Like you don't have anything to do as far as, enjoying California. I mean, I had way more fun when I visited as a tourist than when I lived there, because I couldn't afford to do anything besides pay the bills. And it's a sinking ship, and the dumb Democrats are probably going to put Gavin Newsom on the front stage and go, him for president, and everybody's just going to say he's going to turn America into California. Don't do it, and that's a wrap.
If I can jump in, the reason why I played that video is because I'm kind of heartbroken. I mean, I love California, and as many times as I've been there, traveled all over. Oh my goodness, I went to Redding, California, to see the Sundial Bridge. You ever heard of that? Redding, California?
Yeah. I mean, you can stay in California for years and travel extensively and still not see even a portion of the state.
Right. But I rented an RV. I spent a month just traveling all down the goddamn Pacific coast. I went to so many small Mexican towns that the average person has never heard of and will never go to. That's how much I appreciate that place. But I think at my age now, for me to to move there and have to deal with the reality of water droughts, fires, and me being a farmer, I can't even look forward to being a gardener unless I pay some astronomical prices for water. So it's kind of sad. And the last thing I'll say is
sad.
It's very sad. And the horrific state that San Francisco is in now. Oh my God!
Oh God! No.
You ever been in San Francisco?
That's heartbreaking.
You've been there?
I went there in 2004, and then while I was back there in from 2013, and I mean I went to Alcatraz. I did the whole tourist thing, and I was like, how the hell did this happen in such a short period of time? And every time I went back, it got worse.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like now.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's. On to Miss Candace Owens. I want to say, anybody who has any criticism for her, you can't really say nothing unless you can stare your yard and have somebody come pay you $300K to come hold a reasoning. And you basically, I would say at some points, both of them were kind of reaching for straws as far as concrete. At the end of the day, that thing where he didn't know any of the 7 charges was like the nail in the coffin.
That was the nail in the coffin, and he paid her. She had to play by his rule. But again, by his rule, for those who don't know, it's not just that they had to go to her place because she's 7 months pregnant. She agreed not to ask him any questions. That's why she said, "Can I ask you one question? Is it okay?" And the one question was a goddamn silver bullet. Pow! Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go through the entire, it's 3 hours long, so I kind of been started and stopping, but I got the general, summary of it, and people posted highlights and stuff, but I want to sit and kind of go through because I don't really want to speak fully on something that I haven't fully consumed, but I've consumed enough to know that, you know, Candice definitely got the upper hand. And I agree with one of the previous callers when they said, you know, her progression and her growth is commendable, and more people should learn from that, because, you know, I wouldn't want somebody to hold who I was decades ago against me versus who I am now. So I give her that grace, and you have to give a woman her respect. You know, she's a critical thinker, agree or disagree.
Well, now, I might be right back here kicking her back, and if she loses her lawsuit to the Macrones now, objectively speaking.
Same. You know, you have to keep it consistent, but when somebody does something right, you have to acknowledge them.
Yeah. Blind Visionary, great to talk to you, man.
Yeah, you're done, you know.
Thank
Respect.
you. Salute. Respect.
Bless.
Bless out. Guys, hold on a second.
So you mentioned something that I guess I should get to. Suge and Tupac's group leave the MGM, go to the Luxor, and then did you have law enforcement outside, not for this purpose, but did you have law enforcement working security near Suge Knight's house here in Las Vegas?
We did not. Homicide did not. Apparently, there was an off-duty assignment at Suge Knight's community. I guess it's a gated community is where his house was at. And they were working off-duty because of whatever the event was.
And so did you learn that after the Luxor, they went over to Suge's house?
Yes, we learned that they went over there. There was, I think, a gate log or something, and we learned that several people had gone over there, gone inside, and we eventually acquired that gate log. And then sometime after they had arrived at the house there, they departed, and
that's when the incident occurs.
That's not long after that is when the incident occurred.
All right, let me get back to Compton. At some point, do you get told that the Compton Police Department is going to execute search warrants on all of the Mob Piru and Southside Crip residences that they could identify as part of their investigation into the ongoing war now that's happening between Mob Piru and the Southside Crips?
It was kind of twofold. We were told that they were serving search warrants on all these locations for these different groups or gangs, but that there was also at least one murder warrant for Orlando Anderson that they had there in Compton. So it was our understanding that they were going to be arresting him on an outstanding murder warrant there in Compton.
Were you present in Compton when those warrants were executed?
Mike Franks and I did travel down and were present to witness the search warrants being served by Compton. And I believe I don't know if the Los Angeles County Sheriffs participated, the actual deputies. I know that their jail facility people were there.
And you talked about this before. That warrant, had you seen a copy of the affidavit for that warrant?
Yeah, I saw one way back in '96, and I think I've seen one here recently that you showed me that kind of refreshed my memory.
And within that, all of the witnesses are identified as CRIs. Do you know what they were calling CRIs?
What I was told is that it was called a confidential, reliable informant. I don't recall any person being named as a testifying witness to anything. It was all based on confidential, reliable informants that the search warrant was being based on, which I guess in some cases that's not unusual. I know narcotics cases do that quite often, but eventually if you're going to successfully prosecute a case, you need to have somebody willing to testify.
So on October 2nd of 1996, were you present on Burris Ave when Orlando Anderson's residence was, when the police hit it and searched that residence?
I can't tell you if it was Burris Avenue. I remember being somewhere where Orlando Anderson was arrested, yes.
And during that, did you find out information as to where Orlando Anderson was staying when he was in Las Vegas?
Well, yeah, we kind of had an idea before that, but then when he was arrested, we kind of confirmed it that he had been staying at the Excalibur Hotel. We knew he'd been in Vegas because we had him on videotape, but yes.
Judge, I have in my hand state's proposed exhibit number 125, which is a certified copy of, or it's a certified record of the Excalibur. I offer it at this time.
You want to make your approach?
Yes. That will be a minute.
Okay, now I'm going to try my best here to share my screen with you and see if we can. I want to show you just one little portion of this particular record. Oh. All right, share screen. Guess I should have it up. All right, are you seeing my screen at all?
I see you. I don't see the document. Oh, wait a minute. It just flipped.
You see that document now?
Okay, yeah, I do see a document. It's a affidavit of custodian of records.
Okay. I'm going to roll down here to page 2.
Okay, it's a receipt from Excalibur.
And then I'm going to zoom in here, maybe. Oh, that's the search button. Is this going to let me zoom in here? There we go.
I see some writing down there. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
correct.
it zoomed.
Yeah, I'm just going to get to that writing now that I've zoomed in.
Okay.
So,
folks, I'm trying not to do too much interrupting with this particular part here. I think it's important because the jury, well, a jury in today's world, I don't think they have the patience of a jury from 20, 50, 75 years ago. You know, they like everybody else, please just get to it. And if you drag and you make things confusing, it can work against you. So I just want to say that with regards to this part here, which may seem a little lengthy.
well, on page 2 here, there's some handwriting on there.
That's the Stardust and Monte Carlo.
You recognize that handwriting?
That's my handwriting.
So how does that handwriting wind up on this record? What do you do?
Well, without seeing a report, I wrote it on there. There's no doubt that I wrote it on there. The question is why I wrote it on there. That it's dated September 8th. Says they're local calls, and I put Stardust for one phone number, which and then the Monte Carlo for the other phone number.
Does that suggest to you you're looking to see who Orlando Anderson, what other hotels he was calling?
I'm wanting to see what the phone calls are, and the Stardust call is at 9:41. It should be 9. If if it's correct, 0941 is 9:41 a.m. and then Monte Carlo is at 0946.
He don't know.
And then right after that is the Stardust again at 0947.
Making shit up
again.
Now, there's been some discussions, and I guess we'll get to that when we get a little bit farther, but why don't we address some of that now? Was there a problem at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department of information related to your investigation being leaked publicly?
Well, I became aware that there may have been some information being leaked. I couldn't say who specifically was doing it, but I was becoming concerned to the point that in our office we had shelves behind, not behind my desk, but there were some shelves where a lot of the case files were stored. And once this case continued and the nature of who the victim was, especially when he passed away, there seemed to be a lot of interest in it, outside interest, especially with the media. And I became concerned about it. So I started locking my case files in my desk because I didn't want them to be available. Because I had left things on.
Thank you for your comment on the screen from member official SK Orr. You know, I'm not even trying to be funny, but some law enforcement may have been on drugs back in the days. The drug of choice of a certain period and or era could have an effect on a case and the longevity of the case. And then you got these old niggas who are now trying to clear their conscience. They're trying to seem like do-gooders in the eyes of society. Hell, I don't think Greg Kading was some upstanding cop. I mean, he's been on Vlad TV and his other platforms, and people take a liking to him. Guys, was Greg Kading a dirty cop? People ride his tip as if, just because he's Caucasian, he's telling the truth. You imagine a white cop back in those days with a fucking gun and a badge high off a fish scale? Sheesh.
On my desk, and a couple times I had found things different than when I left them, and it just bothered me. So that's why I locked them up.
Did there come a point in time when you started saving your reports to a different type of medium than just a computer?
Well, yes, there were some reports that I ended up not sending off to records because I was putting them on what we had then was called a floppy disk. I guess today they've got a lot different technology, but back then we had a thing called a floppy disk. Because
let me take a moment and thank NYPD and Philly PD for not giving me a badge and the gun when I applied for the police force 4 times. Thank you. I'd be in the penitentiary right now with he's out, my alleged cousin, Justin Volpe. Thank God they didn't give me a badge and a gun. I would have been out of control.
We actually did some reports early on that I still don't know where they are. We did a PIN register early on that I guess nobody can find. We went looking for a vehicle on another guy that nobody can find. There's just a lot of things that disappeared. And
don't Google Justin Volpe. Scratch that. I didn't say that. Don't Google that.
Some of them are reports that were before I even put them on floppy disk. So yes, I had some concerns.
Were you aware that some Metro employees sold a Polaroid of Tupac on the autopsy table
floppy
to the Daily Mail?
Get the fuck out of here.
I was After we did the autopsy, I was outside the autopsy room. I cannot say that I saw a person take the Polaroid photo of Tupac Shakur's body. I saw somebody walk into the autopsy room where his body was at with a Polaroid. And then I don't remember how long after that a book was published by a Kathy Scott that had, it was a Polaroid photo of his body. It wasn't one of our photos of his body from the autopsy. It was quite obvious it was a Polaroid photo afterwards because it was not a full photograph that we took. We didn't take those kind of photographs at an autopsy. We had no reason to.
But needless to say, you yourself had concerns about the security of the information as it relates to the investigation.
Yes.
Now, going back to exhibit number 125, it says on September 8th at 9:46 a.m., it appears the Monte Carlo was called, correct?
Correct.
And Judge, I have marked state's proposed exhibit number 126, which is a certified copy of a record from the Monte Carlo I'd offer.
Any objection?
If I can have a moment, please.
Yeah.